watching NBC Sports, home of the Ryder Cup.
Notre Dame Stadium sold out for one of college football's greatest rivalries, Michigan and Notre Dame. Both teams are on the field now for pregame ceremonies on this September 11th as we remember those who lost their lives in New York, Washington, and Pennsylvania on 9/11/2001. Let's join public address announcer John Thompson.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise and join in a moment of silence in memory of the nearly 3,000 people who lost their lives in the terrorist attacks on America 3 years ago today. Thank you. Please remain standing as Indiana Governor Joe Kernan, a Notre Dame graduate and Vietnam War veteran, offers a prayer in remembrance of the events of September 11th, 2001.
Heavenly Father, God of love and compassion, source of our peace and consolation, as we gather today in this stadium, we pause to remember in prayer those who lost their lives in the attack on our country 3 years ago today. May all who perished rest in peace. May those left behind who remain burdened by grief and loss experience the peace of your love and consolation. We pray also for our country and our leaders, and for the men and women of our armed forces who serve in 135 countries around the world. Keep them safe, protect them from harm, and return them home to their loved ones. Through the gift of your Spirit, help us all join together to end hatred and violence and bring peace to our troubled world. We offer this prayer in the name of Notre Dame, Our Lady, through her Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you, Father, and the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national colors are being presented today by Mr. David R. Doerson, President of the Notre Dame National Monogram Club and a university trustee, and Mr. Robert J. Sullivan, Jr., President of the Notre Dame Alumni Association. They, in turn, will present the flag to U.S. Army Specialist Danielle Green, a 1999 Notre Dame graduate and a star guard for the Irish women's basketball team from 1996 through the year 2000. While serving in Iraq on May 25th, Danielle was seriously wounded in a rocket attack on a Baghdad police station. She suffered numerous injuries, including the loss of her left hand and arm. She continues her recovery at Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington. Our color guard is provided by the Notre Dame Army, Navy, and Air Force, ROTC. Please join us now in honoring our nation as America the Beautiful is performed by the Notre Dame Band, directed by Dr. Ken Dye. States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the perfection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Please join now in the singing of America the Beautiful. Conducted by Professor Michael Haithcock, Director of Bands at the University of Michigan.
Stadium sold out for the 174th consecutive game for a renewal of one of college football's greatest rivalries as the Michigan Wolverines take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Notre Dame Stadium after those moving pregame ceremonies. Tom Hammond and Pat Hayden ready for the match between the two winningest teams in the history of 1A college football. And, of course, Michigan opened up at home with a win over Miami of Ohio last week, while Notre Dame lost at BYU. And Michigan, can you imagine being a freshman playing your first game in college and starting before 100,000 people? That's what Chad Henne did, and he came through big time.
Well, you know, this is a pretty good story. 4 months removed from his high school graduation leads to that opening game win, his first road test. Really played well. 58% completion percentage, led the team on 5 drives. But if you're either a freshman or a senior, what you really want is some really talented wide receivers. And Michigan has a bevy. Not 1, not 2, but 3. Jason Avant had over 800 yards in receptions last year. Steve Breston last year against the Irish had 4 punt returns for 105 yards. But the premier receiver on this team, perhaps in the country, Braylon Edwards, believe it or not, 85 catches last year, 14 touchdowns. Among the 3 of them, Tom, they had 100 receptions. This is a tough matchup for the Irish.
Arguably the three best receivers in all of college football. And for Notre Dame, normally the home opener is a time of great anticipation, of optimism, but there's sort of a cloud hanging over Notre Dame football after that loss where they didn't look very good at BYU.
Well, I know clouds in the forecast really because of the funk that their offense continues to be and did not play well offensively. Only 11 yards in rushing last week. Tyrone Willingham yesterday, generally as optimistic as a Boston Red Sox fan, seemed a little bit down, but he thinks he can get this turned around. But it's important their offense on this first drive get something started.
Michigan won the toss and they deferred, so they kick off, and Notre Dame will return it with Chase Anastasio. As we take a look at this series history, Michigan with an 18-12-1 record. The last meeting was at the Big House last year, and Michigan thumped Notre Dame 38-0, something the coaches and players at Notre Dame have been reminded of all through the summer and into this fall beginning of the 2004 season. Brady Quinn, the freshman quarterback of a year ago, has matured 26 of 47, 265 yards. The big question, would Ryan Grant be able to play and start today? He did not play against BYU. He had over 100 yards rushing 2 years ago. He's in the lineup and gets the call and is stuffed at the line. Larry Harrison leads the charge for the Michigan defense. So Grant does get the call, and his first carry nets very little. Here's a look at the starting lineup for the Irish with Harris, Morton, Sullivan, Stevenson, and LaVore. An offensive line that's been much maligned. And the remainder of our Adidas starting lineups: Powers, Neal, Grant, Stovall, McKnight, and Palmer.
Yeah, and this offensive line, 4 returning starters. I think they have a chance of being a pretty good offensive line, but they're going to have to play a lot better and protect Brady Quinn a lot better than they did last week.
Quinn appeared to be changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Grant able to dodge the first couple of tacklers, and then Harrison gets him again with help from Lawrence Reed. It'll be third down for the Irish.
That guy's a good tackler.
He is. That's Lawrence Reed, their number 1 tackler, had 6 in the opener against Miami. Harrison, Watson, and Massey up front. Manning, Reed, McClintock, and Woods. 2 of the best corners you'll find anywhere. Jackson and Curry, along with the safeties Mundy and Shazer.
You know, the Irish have had a difficult time implementing their version of the West Coast offense. But in a West Coast offense, in a 3rd and 5, you know, you pitch a ball out and let a guy run after the catch. It's like an extended handoff.
Nickel defense from Michigan. Quinn with plenty of time to Stovall. And Stovall short of the first down. Sure tackle by Ernest Shazer, the safety. And they get it underneath again. No first down.
Yeah, on 3rd and 5, either you got to get the ball in the flat to a guy who can catch it and run for a first down, or if you're going to throw it down to the wide receivers, you must get past those first down markers. I think 2 or 3 times last week against BYU on 3rd and long, they dumped it short, way short of the first down markers, and had a punt.
And that time Quinn had plenty of protection. Here's DJ Fitzpatrick for his first punt. He's been averaging 42.8, 10 punts at BYU. And Breston is deep for Michigan. Good punt by Fitzpatrick. Breston steps out of bounds. It goes out of bounds. So Fitzpatrick did a good job of preventing any return by Breston and still booted it 47 yards.
Now, Chad Henne, the freshman, going to come out on the field. You see his numbers from a week ago. But, Tom, what I was most impressed with is how he managed the game. Only 1 penalty all of last week for Michigan.
Sometimes the toughest thing for a freshman.
Absolutely. Got the guys in and out of the huddles, made the right, the calls, got the protection right. I mean, I think that really is the hard part.
A veteran and big offensive line for the Wolverines as we look at our Michigan Adidas starting lineups. Dudley, Underwood, Edwards, Avant, and Massaquoi, the tight end. First down play for Henne. It's a handoff to Underwood, and he only gets a yard before he is stopped. Both teams intent on stopping the run by the other team today. Goolsby and Zibikowski with help from Budenzack. As you see, Tuck, Pauly, Landry, and Budenzack up front starting for the Irish. The linebackers avoid Goolsby, the leading tackler, and Curry. Goolsby back after missing last year with injury. Burrell and Zibikowski, the starting safeties. Alec and Jackson on the corners.
Well, Justin Tuck, right down here, is going to have a big game and big season for the Irish. 2 sacks last week.
Henne, a short drop, fires across the middle, incomplete. And there's a penalty marker down. First flag of the game, intended for the tight end, Massaquoi.
Mike Goolsby, the middle linebacker, calls their defensive signals, a guy that was out all last year with injury. As you see, number 5, Underwood down, but Mike Goolsby, a guy that they desperately need in their defense.
I thought it is a penalty against Michigan. The referee today, Dave Wivwet from the Big Ten crew, working today's game. As you see other scores in college football this second week of the season, second full week. Underwood, of course, is the senior from Madisonville, Texas, top rusher after that first game against Miami. Getting his chance to play.
Eligible downfield. Defense. Penalty is declined. Third down.
Third down coming up.
That can't be right. An eligible receiver defense?
No, I just said it wrong.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Kent Baer is the defensive coordinator for Notre Dame. And Underwood getting his chance to play with Chris Perry departing. Being tended to on the field right now.
As you said, you grew up in Madisonville, Texas, and a lot of his teammates from high school went to University of Texas, but always dreamed of starting for the Maize and Blue.
Right through his hands, Goolsby falling on him.
Well, this is a guy that's waited for his opportunity behind Chris Perry. You know, he waited 2 years to get this chance. Kind of struggled a little bit last week. 22 carries, only 61 yards. The coaches said, you know, we got to get him going. He's a powerful guy, but he danced a little bit too much last week.
Wanted him to hit the hole harder and sooner, right?
Yeah, he said, you know, the coaches said it's not a sock hop. You know, we need to kind of run it up in there.
While they tend to, David Underwood will take a break and be back to Notre Dame Stadium. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Lowe's, where you'll find all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, improving home improvement. By Hall's Fruit Breezers. When screaming fans need cool, soothing relief from a dry, scratchy throat, they reach for a Hall's Fruit Breezers. Hall's Fruit Breezers treat your throat. By the document company Xerox, helping your business grow in unexpected ways. And by the next Ford Super Duty. Tougher, stronger, smarter. Pierre Ruppert, 6', 209-pound junior from Milwaukee, replaces the injured David Underwood. And on third down, 4 wide receivers, Avant, Edwards, Breaston, and Reston and Gonzalez. Nickel defense from the Irish. Henny's pass complete. Edwards stopped short of the first down. Braylon Edwards with his first catch after making 6 in the opener a week ago.
Good defensive series for Kent Baer's team. The first defensive series here at home. Got him the freshman quarterback in a third long, played a little soft, forced everything in front of him, and a good tackle on the dangerous Braylon Edwards.
So Adam Finley is on to punt, and look who's deep. Carlisle Holiday, the former quarterback, now wide receiver, returning punts. Raymond McKnight had been the returner against BYU.
But Tom, I think if Notre Dame's going to have some big plays this year, they're going to come from that guy, number 7, Carlisle Holiday, and the Notre Dame coaches have to find a way to create a holiday package, if you will.
Finley's boot sailing deep. Holiday dodges the first man and the second, and then upended hard at about the 32-yard line. Tackle made by Scott McClintock on special teams, a 49-yard punt, and Holiday brought it back 9 yards.
You know, the Irish offense had really started slowly over the years, and you see failed to score in the first quarter 11 times, and I think it's really gotten their offense out of sync. They've always been playing catch-up by mid-second quarter.
So Bill Diedrich, the offensive coordinator, hoping to find a package that will click in a scoreless game. 3 and out for each team on its first possession. Fasano resets at tight end. McKnight in motion. First down pass, Quinn. And it's intercepted. Picked off by Marcus Curry.
That is tremendous coverage by Marcus Curry. He had 2 interceptions last week in their opening game. Believe it or not, one of 11 Division I-A players who had 2 interceptions the first week comes up with his third. Marcus Curry and Marlon Jackson on the other side. Pretty good protection here by the offensive line of Notre Dame. The guys up front doing their job. Just a poor decision here by Brady Quinn because Marcus Curry is all over the wide receiver.
He was indeed, and his protection breaks down. He should have just thrown it away there. No chance to complete that one to Powers Neal.
Perfect position by Curry.
So the first turnover of the game, and Michigan has it inside the 40-yard line of Notre Dame. Here's Braylon Edwards in the flat. Tackle made by Tom Zibikowski. First to hit him. Then Brandon Hoyt arrives on the scene. A gain of about 5 yards on first down.
You know, Braylon Edwards is a guy that's had a remarkable career. Could have left for the National Football League. Probably been a #1 draft pick. Decided to come back. He's had 2 seasons of over 1,000 yards in reception. Trying to become the first Big Ten receiver to go three seasons doing that. But a guy that can do everything. Catch the short passes, break some tackles, and then go over the top as well.
And his streak is intact. He's in motion here. That's Braylon Edwards. Henny with a draw play handoff. It's to Jerome Jackson. And Jackson, who carried 7 times for 25 yards and a touchdown against Miami, gets the first carry here.
You know, Tom, as impressive as Braylon Edwards is as a wide receiver, you don't see too many stars, and he is a star wide receiver, block or have a willingness to play without the ball that Braylon Edwards does. And his blocking, in fact, all 3 of the wide receivers, they turn those 5-yard runs into 20-yard touchdown runs.
3rd down and 2. 2 tight ends, Massaquoi and Eckert for the Wolverines. Edwards in motion. Henny, roll out, deliver, complete, and Edwards dives ahead for the first down. Braylon Edwards makes a catch and knew right where that first down marker was, made a dive and picked it up for the Wolverines.
You know, Terry Malone, the offensive coordinator for the Wolverines, even last week in Henny's very first start as a true freshman, you know, he let him kind of settle in a little bit. Great catch there again by Edwards for the first down. But some aggressive play calling as the game wore on for Chad Henne. And as I said, I think he got off to a great start last week. He struggled a little bit early in the game, but I think his players appreciated the way he responded.
First down at the Notre Dame 25. Hand off to Jackson. And Jackson plowing ahead to the 20 before Goolsby and Hoyt drag him down.
Remember, we were talking to Mike Goolsby yesterday and said, we need to win in all 3 facets of this game to be this good Michigan team.
Well, you can't turn it over the way they did here deep in their own territory either against a good Michigan team. There's Goolsby, the senior from Joliet, Illinois, Joliet Catholic High School, where he was Illinois Player of the Year and an All-American. Missed all of last season with an injured shoulder, and just talking to him, Pat, boy, that really killed him, didn't it, to have to sit out and watch his teammates play.
Particularly for middle linebackers, those guys want to play, 2 times a day, double headers.
2nd down and 5. Edwards again in motion. Henny over the middle. Will it be ruled incomplete? Incomplete? Yes, incomplete pass. Brandon Hoyt knocked the ball free of Tyler Ecker, and it's ruled incomplete. No turnover.
I think it was a line judge very quickly called not incomplete. Real good fundamentals by Henny. Gets back, gets sets, get rid of the ball. That looks like a possession to me.
Looks like a catch.
Yeah, that looks like a catch. Looks like it could have been or should have been a fumble. Threw the ball to Ecker. Had possession of the ball with his feet on the ground.
So a break for the Wolverines. Brings up a 3rd and 5. Edwards in motion. Henny. Pass caught by Edwards. No, he dropped it. No, incomplete. Nice hit again by Tom Zibikowski. The sophomore safety from Arlington Heights, Illinois. Quentin Burrell there too.
And boy, the ball comes out of there awfully quickly. A ball that should have been caught by Braylon Edwards and picked up a first down, but Chad Henne had a lot of steam on him. He's got an incredibly strong arm and an accurate one as well.
So the field goal attempt by Garrett Rivas, who hit 4 of 6 extra points, and a 31-yard field goal against Miami last week. This one 38 yards. 38 yards to give the Wolverines the lead. On its way, it is good. So Michigan converts the interception into 3 points. The first turnover gives Michigan the lead with 8:29 left in the first. Wolverines 3, Irish nothing. (3-0) Michigan after the Marcus Curry interception. Already 3 interceptions for Curry, who had only 2 all last season. And Nienberg ready to kick off for Michigan. Anastasio and Stovall are deep for Notre Dame. Anastasio from the 5. Good special teams coverage by Michigan. He only gets it back to the 15-yard line.
Tom, let's go back to that one play that was ruled incomplete to Tyler Eckler, the tight end of Michigan. I still think, close call, he's the tight end right down here. A little short pass over the middle. But I think this is a catch with possession, catch there, feet down, and then the ball comes out. I think that's a fumble. They called it an incomplete pass, and they went on to score 3 points on the field goal.
And that's the difference right now. 3-0 Michigan. Notre Dame takes over at its own 16-yard line. Quinn with a handoff to Marcus Wilson. Wilson bounces to the outside and then sandwiched by a couple of defenders. Marlon Jackson got a piece of him. And also there was Shazer. So looked like he had a little running room outside, and then it quickly closed for Marcus Wilson, who comes into the game as the #1 rusher for the Irish with only 22 yards gained against BYU. You know the story. If you subtract the sacks, as is the case in college football, the Irish had only 11 yards rushing against BYU.
Yeah, but if you add those back in, it's only 38 yards rushing, Tom.
Second down, Wilson again, other side, same result. In fact, he might have lost a yard. Lawrence Reed was the first to hit him, 42.
Well, it was one of those games last week. If you look at an Irish fan, you have good news and you have the bad news as well. Brady Quinn, 55% completion percentage, which you should have that at least in a West Coast offense. Defense played very well. Kent Bears defense got 22 yards rushing allowed, 5 sacks. The bad news, we talked about the rushing yardage. Only 1 offensive touchdown in 3 of 16 on 3rd down, which they're facing right now.
Ryan Grant back in, spread formation, 4 wide receivers. Quinn in trouble, unloaded it to McKnight, but McKnight stopped a yard short of the first down. Tackle made by Pierre Woods, and help from Scott McClintock.
A little bit of blitz from the outside. McClintock and Marlon Jackson, the corner, blitzing. That frees up one of the defensive linemen to get into Brady Quinn's face. And they force, that's a good blitz there by Scott McClintock right off the side.
Almost had him, but
yeah. For McClintock, an inside linebacker, their fastest non-skill player.
Fitzpatrick for his second punt. And Breaston deep for Michigan. Sorry, Pat.
That's okay, excuse me. Breaston, a dangerous punt return.
Short punt this time. Fitzpatrick did not get all of that one.
And that's what happens sometimes, Tom. I think when you're worried about a punt returner, when you try to kick it too high and you don't get much distance on it.
Only 32 yards on that punt. Jared Clark downs it for the Irish. Michigan gets it back, leading 3-0. Welcome back to Notre Dame football, presented by Lowe's, with Michigan leading Notre Dame 3-0. And the Wolverines, good field position again. They begin at their own 43. Henny fakes a handoff, rolls to the right. And his pass deflected and incomplete.
Zibikowski got a tip on it.
Yeah. And Edwards nearly caught it anyway.
Yeah, nearly an acrobatic catch by Braylon Edwards. He makes those remarkable catches and the easy ones. But I think it was Zibikowski, number 9, who gets his hand on it right up here. Watch it hustling, gets his right hand on it, and prevents a big play for the Wolverines. It happened there for a moment.
Yeah, he did.
Those xylophone players. I'd like to be the band leader and replace the xylophone every year. You got to find 2 new xylophone players for your band.
Second down play. Henny in the flat. A big hit by Dwight Ellick. Ellick stopped Breaston in his tracks. And a loss of about 4 yards.
Yeah, Terry Malone, the offensive coordinator, creates some plays for Steve Breaston to kind of create some runs. A little bit like, the Irish are thinking about with Carlisle Holiday, but that time incredibly well read by Dwight Ellick, who not only read it well, then he just kind of come down and makes a great tackle. Lucky there's not a fumble there.
Breaston, lucky to hang on to it as 3 Irish gang tackled him, with Ellick the first to hit him. Here's a 3rd down and 15.
Again, if you're a quarterback, you always take a look at where number 44 is, Justin Tuck.
Breaston in motion, resets. Henny, under pressure, sacked. Justin Tuck, the sack specialist, got him at the 30-yard line. There's a flag down.
I'll tell you, Justin Tuck is so quick, and he is so much stronger than he was a year ago, Tom. You know, he's got 3 sacks this year, all of them face mask against the Irish, I think. But 3 sacks, all of them on that inside move. He fakes upfield and then comes back down underneath. Guy who has 21 career sacks, 2 sacks against BYU, and playing the run a lot better. And as I said, you better put a tight end over at his side to make him go a little bit further.
But the penalty against Notre Dame.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask of 95 defense. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
That's Victor Abiamiri. One of the new rules this year. They announce the number of the offending player.
Watch how quick, you know, he takes upfield, Kaloje, and then right back inside, and then over the guard, Matt Lentz.
Might have been tough to grab the face mask instead of Abiamiri. Right there.
Yeah, absolutely was on top.
So first down for Michigan. And a nice run. The flag is down. Another flag. Jerome Jackson showing some running ability there. Gain of 10 yards. Quentin Burrell finally made the tackle, but a hold against the Wolverines.
Well, you know, Tom, as long as the Stars have come out at night, Michigan has always tried to start a game by establishing the run. And they did not run it particularly well last week. Lloyd Carr was really upset with that running game and really wants to be able to feed his tailbacks, 3 or 4 guys, and have one of those 200-yard games on the ground.
Holding. Offense, number 1. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
Braylon Edwards, who goes to the sideline and gets a look from Coach Carr. For much more on the Fighting Irish, log on to NBCSports.com. Click on a special section, NBC's Notre Dame Central. Pat has analysis. You can get complete post-game coverage of today's Michigan-Notre Dame matchup at NBCSports.com.
Tom, a little disappointed. You've downgraded me. I used to be expert analysis.
We're waiting to see.
Actually, downgraded.
The jury is still out.
Very disappointed, Tom.
Only 4 carries, 5 yards rushing for Michigan so far. Another rushing attempt to Jackson. Gets nothing. A loss of a couple. Trevor Lawrence was the first to get there.
You know, that deja vu all over again kind of feeling. Struggling on offense, playing really good defense. Kent Bear's team. We talked to Kent yesterday, and we talked about the BYU game. BYU had 16 offensive possessions. Right over here is the man who makes the play, the nose tackle. Good push, good chase in the backside as well. See, there's no cutback lane, and Trevor Laws made a real nice play. And Kent Bear was saying to us yesterday, I really like my inside guys like Trevor Laws.
Second down and 20. Edwards in motion. Penny fakes the handoff, rolls to his right, and his pass caught by Avant. He went way upstairs to get it. Big catch by Jason Avant, his second of the season.
How would you like to be a freshman quarterback and have this trio, this bevy? You know, Bevy's now 1, Bevy's now 2, Bevy's 3. Have 3 receivers like he has. This time Jason Avant, 6'1", is about 6'5" on this catch. Gets the foot in bounds with possession. You know, really a sure-handed guy and one of those very, very competitive people on a team with a lot of competitive athletes.
It went for 15 yards, setting up a 3rd down and 5. 3rd and 4, just between 4 and 5. Avant resets to the left. Breston in motion. Henny, his pass complete. And Breston dives for the first down. Let's see where they mark it. Looks like he has it. Quentin Burrell tackled him, but Breston with a dive to pick up the first.
You know, Michigan has always been seemed to be able to mash the football, run it, but they've thrown the ball surprisingly well. 271 yards a game last year with the experienced John DeVar. What I like is the play calling. I mean, they're not holding anything back from Chad Henne.
Well, certainly Notre Dame has been able to stop the run from Michigan. That was what they hoped to do, and then put pressure on the freshman. So far, it hasn't bothered the freshman one bit.
Would you love to hear Coach one day just say, I don't care how many yards they run for, I'm going to stop the pass this week. That's what I'm really out to do.
There's a handoff to Hart. And his first carry nets about 8 yards. Tackled by Carlos Campbell and Quentin Burrell.
Lloyd Carr and his 25th year.
As a coach, assistant, and head coach. In fact, no one has been on the sideline longer than Lloyd for a Notre Dame-Michigan game. Longest tenures on the coaching staff.
Some pretty good names, huh? Fielding Yost.
Famous names in the history of college football.
You mentioned that. This is his 19th Notre Dame-Michigan game.
Edwards in motion, second down. Henny with a handoff to Hart. Close to the first down, stopped by Goolsby.
So you see why Ken Bear missed Mike Goolsby last year. See those shaved arms he has? He has a little pregame ritual on Fridays. He shaves his arms and he shaves his legs, which is kind of interesting. And then he puts on a couple of rubber bands on his wrist for good luck. And then his pregame meal, believe it or not, is a Hostess cupcake with orange juice. Obviously not on the Atkins diet.
So he doesn't like to eat much before a game. He does eat at halftime, though, he said, too. Goolsby, only a guy 6'4", 240, do you not question him shaving his arms and legs? Said it makes him feel faster.
Well, he's played pretty well in this first quarter.
Third down and 1. Jackson manages to pick his way forward for the first down inside the 25 of the Irish. Brandon Hoyt and Dwight Ellick, but not until Jerome Jackson has the first down.
Lloyd. I thought Lloyd Carr, interesting guy. We've talked to him for the last half dozen years, Tom, right? Taught high school English and history for 7 years for $20,000. And he told us his first football paid job was a whopping $11,000. But he's kind of hung with it. And, you know, you sense that he kind of loves it or appreciates it more.
He does indeed. I think he's had time to sort of take a step back and enjoy all the positive things about the experience. Here's Jackson again. Jackson with a short game. Let's go down to the sideline now. Check in with Lewis Johnson.
All right, Tom. Well, the Michigan running back core is still missing David Underwood, number 5. He has been on the bench for quite a while. He's been tended to by the trainers. They've looked at his stomach area. We have no definitive answers to what the problem is because Michigan does not release injury information. But Underwood has been pleading with the trainers to please let him back in the game. And as you see, he talks with the trainers right now. They're still not allowing him back in the game, and he is frustrated.
Yeah, Lewis, you're right. He's a senior that has, one last shot at making his mark.
Second down and 10. Henny play action fake under pressure. Steps up, pass deflected, incomplete.
That was Derek Landry, number 66, who got his hands on it right there in the middle. But Chad Henne, the fundamentals of this rush, he must have had an awfully good high school coach. He gets back quickly. He doesn't drift, which, offensive linemen always like to know where their drop back passer is. To drift right or left, you give up a sack. And then he stepped up into the pocket there and avoided a sack.
And last year in high school, while all his friends were on spring break down at the beach or whatever, he came to Ann Arbor, watched film, watched spring practice, and got a head start. It shows. He's 5 of 10, 36 yards so far. Third down and 10. Reston in motion. Henny. Pass complete underneath. Preston makes one move and another, but stops short of the first down.
Now decision time for Lloyd Carr.
Quentin Burrell stopped him to prevent the first down, so it is decision time, and looks like the field goal unit will come out.
Yeah, his defense is playing so well. I think this is the right call. Kick the field goal, and the Notre Dame offense is struggling a little bit. Kick the field goal, try to go up by 6 points.
Oh, you're a master of understatement there. Struggling a little bit.
Well, the West Coast offense, clearly has gotten stuck on Lake Michigan.
Rivas, who hit one earlier, will attempt this one from 33 yards. Sends it on its way and right through the uprights. Rivas hits his second of the game.
So what do we know about this Notre Dame team? It's going to be a team, looks like, similar to last year. They're going to have to create a lot of turnovers on defense and be efficient in offense.
They trail 6-0. Despite the Leprechauns' best efforts, Michigan leads Notre Dame 6-0, a unfamiliar and disturbing trend for Tyrone Willingham.
Last season outscored 124-64 in the first quarter. And so this is what, the defense has to make a play, or special teams. Maybe a big return here, a 30 or 40-yard return. get some, lights a fire.
Nienberg's kickoff taken by Stovall at the goal line. Maurice Stovall. And again, they stop him short of the 20, this time about the 16, where they stopped Anastasio the last time. So the special teams of Michigan looking much better today than they did against Miami. Tim Jamison on special teams makes the Michigan tackle.
Yeah, Notre Dame's had 3 series so far. They had a 3-and-out, then an interception, then a 3-and-out. And, it always falls on your quarterback. Brady Quinn, the sophomore, had a pretty solid season last year, starting 9 games as a true freshman. They just need to find a player or players that can go 20 or 30 yards. And again, I think
maybe one of them's in there now. Darius Walker, the freshman from Lawrenceville, Georgia, highly touted, makes his first appearance. Fake it to him. Quinn rolling. He's going to keep it, and Brady Quinn tiptoeing down the sideline, stepped out of bounds. He had a big long gain, but he'll be marked out of bounds at the 21-yard line instead. Marcus Freeman blocking for him. Quinn stepped out of bounds on the final play of the first quarter.
Well, that could have been a 15, 20-yard gain right there.
And he is out.
His left foot hits it, and then his right. But nice play on first down for Brady Quinn.
So it'll be second down for the Irish when we start the second quarter. At the end of the first, Michigan 6, Notre Dame nothing. Back after this from your local station. Welcome back to Notre Dame football, presented by Lowe's. We start the second quarter with Michigan leading Notre Dame 6-0. Tyrone Willingham and company shut out in a first quarter once again. They have yet to pick up a first down. Michigan has 61 total yards, 22 for the Irish. On second down, a handoff to Walker. And the freshman from Lawrenceville, Georgia, understands what the college game is all about on one hit from the Michigan Wolverines. They stopped him in his tracks after that brilliant high school career in which he broke Herschel Walker's records.
That's pretty good company, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're looking for somebody to replace the, the plus 20-yard gains that Julius Jones had last year. He had most of the team's dynamic plays, and they need somebody like that. It's going to come from Darius Walker or Carlisle Holiday, one of the wide receivers, because it's hard, very hard to be methodical and drive 80 yards every time you get the ball.
Pitch to Grant on third down, trying to turn the corner. Here's Ryan Grant, hit hard, and he's close to the first down, maybe short. So it'll be marked short as Lawrence Reed, who seems to be everywhere for the Michigan defense, hit him when it looked like he was going to be able to scoot for the first down with a head of steam.
That's a strong run, though, by Ryan Grant. Here's a guy that came into this game. We weren't sure he was even going to be able to play. Held up last week because of a sore hamstring. And that was a tough run. And I think you mentioned earlier.
It's close enough they're going to measure, Pat. Sorry.
A couple of years ago against Michigan right here, he had a big game, 132 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And a determined run by Ryan Grant. Get him the first.
I thought it was short, but it was not. By the half the length of the football, Notre Dame picks up its initial first down.
But watch the effort after the hit. He gets turned. I mean, that's an incredible blow that Reed gives him. Just kind of keeps his momentum moving, picks up the first. Now, it's only 2 or 3 extra inches, but a significant play.
Absolutely. So after the 17th consecutive game in Notre Dame Stadium that Notre Dame has not led after the first quarter, they're trying to mount a drive here to start the second. Darius Walker's back in at tailback. Here's Walker, the freshman, trying to use his blockers. Hits the hole, broke a tackle across the 30-yard line. Nice run by the freshman.
Yeah, I think the biggest adjustment for high school running backs, Tom, well, there's really 2 of them. One of them is not so much when they pitch you the ball on the run. It's pass blocking. Picking up those blitzing linebackers are 250 pounds and awfully good. And the second thing is really securing the football. In college football, there's a lot more stripping of the ball than you're going to find in high school.
Walker picking up 5 yards on that one. Second down and 5.
Nice little drive here for the Irish.
Walker again. Around the corner. Lowers his head and picks up another first down. Marlon Jackson and Ernest Shazer get him out of bounds, but the freshman Darius Walker giving the Notre Dame running attack a boost with help from a nice block from Anthony Fasano, the tight end.
Yeah, and Mark LaVore and Dan Stevenson. Dan Stevenson, the right guard, just went up and gave the freshman a little high five. And, again, Mark Stevenson Dan Stevenson 6'5". Walker's only 5'11", but it did manage to be a high five. With some very good blocking on the right side by Stevenson, LaVore, and Fasano.
So the ball now at the 38 of Notre Dame. First down for the Irish. Again, Walker. Started Wanted to go inside, then ducked outside, and was nothing there at all. Maybe should have continued with his first move, which was where the blocking appeared to be. Marcus Curry made the tackle for Michigan.
But, you know, this is what Notre Dame really needs. It's kind of a drive where they get that running game going a little bit, because it gives everybody confidence. It gives the coaching staff confidence, and particularly the offensive linemen. And you know, this should be a good offensive line. 4 returning starters, 2 highly recruited players in Ryan Harris, the left tackle, John Sullivan, the center. It's a chance of being a very, very good offensive line.
Ryan Grant back in at tailback, the lone setback, and a 4 wide receiver set on 2nd and 9. Brady Quinn with time has his man Stovall. Maurice Stovall in midfield for another Irish first down, gain of 11.
You know, this is the first glimpse of the West Coast offense we've seen in a couple of years. I'll tell you what, Mark LaVour, the right tackle, number 73, great block protecting Brady Quinn right over here. You know, and then Brady Quinn just steps up and fires the ball. And you see, perfect ball placement. He allowed him to catch the ball and turn and pick up the first down. See, 22 catches all of last season. 9 of those came from Purdue. 5 games without a reception. Maurice Stovall's the guy that has to step up.
So much potential, and everybody's still waiting for him to break out. From midfield, first down Irish. Darius Walker. Walker. It's about 4 yards.
See, Carlisle Holiday, number 7, is in for the Irish. We've talked about him a little bit. You know, last time Notre Dame came in here was the quarterback. And a guy that I just think at some point in the season he's going to throw probably, you know, at least a touchdown pass, maybe several. He's going to be a factor, they hope, in the punt return game, maybe some slip screens. He's a guy that had almost 700 yards rushing a couple of years ago.
Tackle made by Lamar Woodley as Michigan resting its starting linebackers. Woodley, Harris, Burgess in there. Crable was also in there. First time now Notre Dame has been in Michigan territory. Fake to Walker. Quinn under pressure. Throws it at the feet of Fasano. Incomplete.
It was Larry Harrison, number 96 for the Wolverines, that was in Mr. Quinn's face. Larry Harrison was a guy last year, didn't play a lot. Only made 12 tackles, but 3 of them were for losses. So significant plays that Harrison made. I tell you, Brady Quinn is a tough guy. I mean, I think his teammates respect his mental and his physical toughness. Survived a lot of sacks, a lot of hits last year, and has become the leader of this team.
3rd and 6. Grant the setback. Quinn, rush, got it away. A catch not made, incomplete. Stovall couldn't hang on.
Now, Maurice Stovall has a reputation not being able to get away from bump and run coverage, but that time he made a nice adjustment to jump up and catch the ball. I thought he had it for a moment.
Yeah, it looked like he had it in his hands.
But then I think it was a good defensive play that got stripped out of his hands. Getting away from the bump and run, you talk to the coaches, just waiting for it to just happen. It has not the first 3 years. Leon Hall, number 29,
looked like the ball sort of came down in Stovall's hands, then off the helmet of Hall maybe to knock it loose. In any event, incomplete, so Fitzpatrick will punt. Reston calls for a fair catch and takes it at about the 13-yard line. So Notre Dame finally picks up some first downs, but eventually they have to punt. A 34-yard punt backs up Michigan inside their 15-yard line. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Lexus and their passionate pursuit of perfection. By Coca-Cola C2. Half the carbs, half the calories, all the great taste. By Sirius Satellite Radio. Listen to the NFL every week only on Sirius Satellite Radio. And by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, Lewis Johnson, Notre Dame Stadium, second quarter, 11:16 to go. Michigan 6, Notre Dame nothing. And Michigan with the ball on the Wolverine 13. Handoff to Jackson. Not much there. Got a couple yards in the center of the Notre Dame defense. It'll bring up 2nd and long for Chad Henne and company. See Henne checking his wristband for the play call.
Yeah, you see that flip phone wristband? You see a lot more of that in college football.
We were talking to Brady Quinn about that, and he said, what, they had 170 plays?
Yeah, about twice as many as they had a year ago, but it's the expanding waistline of offensive linemen and expanding wristbands of quarterbacks.
St. Edwards in motion. Looks like a blitz coming from the Irish. Henning's pass incomplete off the hands of Braylon Edwards, who was defended by Derek Curry. And next Monday, Heather Locklear and Blair Underwood star in LAX. The stories we never hear about the place that we all know, one that Pat knows very well. LAX premiering this Monday, 9 Central on NBC.
I'm going to watch because I'm in and out of LAX a lot.
Are you in that? Considering your previous experience as an actor on the Love Boat, when you were titled The Dream Boat, I think the...
Be nice. Come on, be nice.
Does that mean you're not in it?
No.
Third down and 8. Draw play. The handoff to Rembert. Stops short of the first down at the 20-yard line by Brandon Hoyt.
You ever notice when Brandon Hoyt hits you, you go down not many yards after the hit? You know, forced 2 fumbles last week against BYU. Great story. Writes poetry, a published poem, actually. With the tackles in iambic pentameter.
Gave a reading, as I recall, last year here at Notre Dame of his poetry. Meanwhile, that's Carlisle Holiday awaiting the punt from Adam Finley.
How about a block punt attempt? Had 3 punts blocked last year.
Irish come, and they almost got it. Holiday fumbled, picked it up, trying to get to the corner. Flag is down, and Holiday's down the sideline, cutting back. And to about the 37, but the flags went down. Looks like it's going to come back. A 29-yard return after a 47-yard punt.
And a block in the back, I think. But you kind of see the kind of plays that Carlisle Holiday, there's the penalty against the yard, that can give your team. And I just believe, Tom, they need to give him some chances. Throw him a quick screen, pitch him the ball, let him run it, let him throw it.
During the return, illegal block in the back. On the returning team, number 2. 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Freddie Parrish, number 2.
I think he's right here. I think that is number 2. Yeah, there's a block in the back right there, for sure. Yep, that is number 2, Freddie Parrish, the 4th.
Got a hit with the flag, you see that? So a big return, nullified by a penalty. Irish backed up to their own 30 when we come back. Back at Notre Dame football presented by Lowe's. Notre Dame coming off its best possession of the game so far, their last drive.
Bill Diedrich, the offensive coordinator, really has to be happy with that last drive. And Darius Walker kind of sparked it. 5 carries, 18 yards for the freshman.
He's in a tailback now. The fullback is Josh Schmidt. Hand off to Walker. No, fake it to him. Quinn's got it. Going for a wide open Stovall. He has it. Stovall to the 20-yard line. There's the big play they've been looking for from Maurice Stovall.
Was that Peyton Manning on that fake? I mean, a perfect, excellent executed fake by Brady Quinn. I mean, he really hit that ball, and Maurice Stovall right down the gut of this Michigan defense.
Ryan Mundy made the tackle to save the touchdown, but Stovall was wide open.
Yeah, but watch the ball fake. Right there on his left hip. I mean, I don't think anybody sees it. Then Stovall, perfectly thrown ball. Nice catch with his hands. And then Mundy prevents him getting into the end zone. But that's a well-executed play and well-designed play by Bill Diedrich.
49 yards. First down, Notre Dame. Walker to the outside. Made one man miss. Burns at the 9-yard line. Mundy forced him out after a gain of 12 as the freshman shows a flash of brilliance.
Absolutely. He is absolutely giving him a lift. We talked to Tyrone Willingham yesterday about Darius Walker, and he said, he's just one of those running backs that sees things that other running backs don't see. He said he's got great speed, great balance, and he's absolutely provided the spark.
In fact, Bill Diedrich was saying he makes people miss, which is what he did right there.
He certainly has some good outside speed.
First and goal, Irish. Ball just inside the Michigan 8-yard line. Walker, nowhere to go. Lost a yard. Ernest Shazer was there right away.
And Ernest Shazer, number 25. In a lot of Big Ten programs, he could play linebacker. He plays, see what he did last week, plays strong safety for Jim Herman's defense and Lloyd Carr's defense. A guy that can play up close to the line of scrimmage, but they use him back in center field a lot. Had an 88-yard return, or interception return for a touchdown last week.
Shazer 6'4", 229.
It's a good size, strong safety, isn't it?
Yep, senior from Detroit, King High School.
Growing confidence of this offensive unit of Notre Dame.
Second and goal from the 10. Wide open. McKnight. A short tackle by Marcus Curry at the 2-yard line. Boy, Curry prevented the touchdown as McKnight was rolling to the end zone.
Marcus Curry has an interception and then prevents a touchdown with that tackle. But I got to tell you, Irish fans have to be happy with what they're seeing in that finally the West Coast offense perhaps has arrived. You know, the little 5-yard throw, a little bit of a run, almost gets in the end zone. Big third down right now for Notre Dame.
Third and goal from the 2-yard line. Freeman and Fasano, 2 tight ends. Walker, the setback. The fullback, Schmidt. Walker pounding ahead, stopped short. It'll be 4th and goal from the 1, and decision time for Tyrone Willingham.
And Ryan Grant's telling Tyrone, let's go, give me a shot. You know, I think it's a time to go for it. There's a time to kick him and a time to go for it. I think this is the time. His offense has some confidence. Give him a chance and send in Ryan Grant.
And here comes Grant to the cheers of the crowd.
And he was just asking to get back in the ball game right in front of Tyrone Willingham just a moment ago.
At left tackle, left guard, Bob Morton has been replaced by Dan Santucci on this series. See if they go to the right side behind Stevenson and LaVore. Powers Neal, fullback. Grant, tailback. Grant, stop short. Stop short. Michigan with a great goal line stand.
And Lloyd Carr ought to be happy. Great defensive line penetration. Roy Manning is part of that defense that got underneath the offensive. I still like the call. I mean, I still like the call by Tyler Lynch.
This penetration, yeah.
Absolutely right. 5 white jerseys there. No window there to get in the end zone. Or just winged helmet. Six winged helmets.
So a goal line stand, but the Wolverines preserves their 6-0 lead. (6-0) Michigan after a superb Wolverine goal line stand.
And watch number 58 with his second guy in here. That's Roy Manning. Just gets really early penetration, kind of blows up the fullback. That's the lead blocker, so there's no one really there to lead Ryan Grant into the end zone.
Now the Wolverines take over at their own 1-yard line. Try the center of the line for a yard or 2.
We were talking to some of the Wolverine players this week about the play of Chad Henne, their freshman quarterback, and Braylon Edwards, I thought was kind of interesting. He said to us, you know, he was so calm in the huddle last week. Said, I was more nervous than Chad Henne was. And, you know, I think players, offensive linemen in particular, know, they can sense, they can feel when the quarterback's not confident. What they have is a really confident young quarterback in Chad Henne.
Notre Dame has taken the lead, as you saw, in total yards. Henne's hit 50% of his passes so far. 2nd down and 8. Jackson. White Ellick hopped on him.
Good defensive series so far for Kent Baer's Irish defense. Played well last year, played well in week 1. 5 sacks, and he said to us yesterday, we must play great run defense. Certainly have the last couple of plays.
It's going to be 3rd down and 8 for Michigan.
Again, I would get an extra body on Justin Tuck if I'm a Michigan coach. Just don't want Justin Tuck, number 44, to get a free rein or just a single block.
He's lined up at the left defensive end. Jackson is the running back.
He's tucked down here.
Dudley, the fullback. Henne, handoff, nothing for Jackson. So Michigan will have to punt from their own end zone. Nice play there by Derek Curry.
Very, very conservative play calling, but they did what they had to with their freshman quarterback, bring in the punt team. And Notre Dame rushed the punter last time. This is a good time to allow Carlisle Holiday to perhaps return this one. You get good field position, don't risk roughing the punter.
Finley averaging 49. There's Holiday awaiting this latest boot. 'Cause 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 rush was not on. Here's Holiday. Fields it cleanly and right up the center of the field. Carlisle Holiday cuts back to the 30-yard line. 14-yard return after Finley's 40-yard punt. Tackle made by Tyler Ecker on special teams. Well, last month in Athens, the world came together for competition and patriotism, and next weekend, don't miss golf's ultimate battle for pride and country. That's the Ryder Cup. Tiger Woods leads the Americans on their home soil, looking to reclaim the cup from Team Europe. Ryder Cup begins Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern and Pacific on USA, with continuing coverage Saturday and Sunday on NBC. It'll be in Michigan this year.
Yeah, Oakland Hills, great old track by Donald Ross. Oakland Hills South, built in 1918. You know who the first pro was there?
I know because I heard it earlier.
Oh, man.
Walter Hagen, though.
Good guess.
One of the great names. Darius Walker stopped after a short gain by Larry Harrison. It'll be second and long.
Really important drive, I think, for the Irish. Not for this game, but I think just the confidence for their season. 4 minutes remaining in this first half. They have all 3 of their timeouts remaining, and they're on a roll. They've got some rhythm. They're running it and throwing it pretty well.
Grant back in on second down and 8. Short drop. Was that intercepted? It deflected, incomplete. No, intercepted. Intercepted by Monday. Well, through the hands.
Is that Samarza he was trying to get?
Of Jeff Samarza. And into the hands of Ryan Monday, who picked it up off the turf.
Yeah, a little slant to the left here. Good throw. Just goes right off his hand. Good coverage there. First by Marcus Curry, I think, who got his hand on the ball, knocked it up in the air. The free safety Monday, who intercepted a pass last week.
Boy, look at it. It was a great catch, too, because just got it before it hit the ground.
Now, Jim Herman's defense created 7 turnovers last week. Monday had 1, 5 interceptions, 2 fumble recovers.
2 Irish turnovers have been costly. They still trail. 6-0 Michigan. The Wolverine defense has picked off Brady Quinn twice. Although the last one was not really his fault, deflected ball. Ryan Mundy got his second interception of the season after going all last season without one. Henny, first down, plenty of protection. Lost it for Edwards downfield. And Alec, no, it's caught by Edwards. Alec came down with a 2. Possession goes to the offensive player.
Unbelievable adjustment by Braylon Edwards. Yeah, you called it right. You know, if they both catch it, it goes to the offensive player. Good coverage by Dwight Alec, but the leaping 6'3" Braylon Edwards. Remember, 85 catches last year, over 1,100 yards, 14 touchdowns. Notre Dame wide receivers, by example, total caught 8. He caught 14 last year. Slows down, goes over the top, not pass interference. That's a beautiful catch by Braylon Edwards. I mean, he's got football charisma.
It goes for 45 yards. Michigan first down at the 35 of Notre Dame. Blitz and a screen pass set up. Caught by Hart. Michael Hart gets it out 9 yards before he's knocked out of bounds by Derek Landry.
Well, so far this drive is like a well-planned wedding. Things just kind of going right along. They throw the deep ball, they come back to the screen, they run the ball well. Good play calling by Terry Malone, keeping the defense on their heels a little bit. And you got to stretch them out every once in a while. And geez, guys like Braylon Edwards give him some more chances.
First interception of Quinn led to 3 of Michigan's points. Trying to get some points after picking him off for the second time. Henny hands off. Hart to the 20-yard line. First down, Michigan. It'll be first down, Michigan at the 20-yard line of Notre Dame. Tackled by Goolsby and Burrell.
Lloyd Carr's opening road game of this campaign. You see what's happened over the last 4 years. Some pretty tough games, tough opponents on the road. Has not been terribly successful. And he's expecting Notre Dame to bring their best today. It's obviously not the 38-0 kind of game he had last year. You impressed with Chad Henne, Tom?
Oh, yeah. You'd never dream he was a freshman.
Just went to the prom 3.5 years ago, or 3.5 months ago.
I don't know. He might not have gone to the prom. He might have been studying film. He hands off here to Rembert, and Pierre Rembert gets a couple of yards before he's pushed out of bounds by Goolsby and others.
But, again, the play calling, they have a lot of confidence in Chad Henne to allow him to kind of throw the ball deep, throw the ball short. I mean, they're not really really holding anything back. This is the guy that started all 4 years. It's Terry Malone, the offensive coordinator, started all 4 years in high school.
Wilson High School, Pennsylvania, All-American, All-Stater, Pennsylvania Player of the Year. Over 7,000 passing yards and 74 touchdowns.
Yikes, that's a lot.
Delivers wide open across the middle to Massaquoi, and the big tight end rambles for a first down inside the 10 of Notre Dame. It'll be first and goal, Michigan. Quentin Burrell, all he could do to bring down the 250-pound Massaquoi.
You know, the sequencing of plays, I think, is always the magic about play calling. You throw it deep, then you go with screen, you run the ball, you throw the ball to the tight end. I mean, they've sequenced the plays beautifully on this drive. Massaquoi is an interesting guy. Came into Michigan as a big wide receiver. He's 6'4", 250 now, but they moved him down to tight end, and he became physical. I mean, he wasn't one of those wide receivers forced to play the receiving tight end. He can block.
First and goal from the 7. Henny's now over 100 yards passing in the first half. Delayed handoff to Jackson, and Brandon Hoyt sticks him in the backfield.
That's a good word, sticks him. He's had 2 big tackles in this game thus far. But when he hits you, boom, you go down. There's not much movement after you get hit. Terrific job by Jackson just holding on the football. That could easily have been a fumble. He caused 2 of them last week.
What do they call this in the practice drills? A form tackle?
Yeah, that's perfect.
A loss of 3, setting down second and goal now from the 10. Got the play off. Henny's pass complete to Edwards at about the 6-yard line. Tackled by Zibikowski. It'll be third and goal for the Wolverines.
Now these 3 wide receivers, well, we've seen the tight end as well. The 3 wide receivers have already caught 7 passes among them in this first half. And Braylon Edwards, a guy at 6'3", they like to throw those jump balls down here in the end zone, give him a chance to use that height and that leaping ability. Terry Malone said he's one of those guys that can kind of jump out of the gym.
Or the field in this case.
Well, you get the point. Right? You get
Chad Henne 4 for 4 on this drive. Third down and goal. Henne with a handoff. And Hart stopped at the 5.
Well, you know, surprising call on 3rd and 5 when you have these 3 talented wide receivers. I mean, and Lloyd Carter said to us this week, we need to get the ball to our playmakers. So.
And Henne had the hot hand. He had missed a pass on the drive.
Absolutely. In a critical situation, they decided to give the ball to their freshman Michael Hart.
And Gouldsby filling that hole, which was open for a moment.
Okay, Mike Gouldsby has had a very, very nice first half.
So 4th and goal from the 5, and the field goal unit is out. Rivas has hit 2 field goals already. This one will be 22 yards. He's made from 38 and 33. Play clock. Did he get a timeout in time?
I think it's irrelevant, really, in the distance-wise. But
right. Looks like they called timeout to beat the play clock.
The Notre Dame needs a block.
Yeah, only 6 seconds left, so the timeout useless too.
Timeout. Michigan. They're first.
And it gives us a chance to remind you that coming up, it'll be the Lexus halftime show. Jimmy Roberts back in New York with all the latest news, scores, and highlights from college football. And then a very interesting feature here. A look at a disturbing trend in college football where athletes get college credit for just playing ball. Remember the scandal at the University of Georgia with Coach Herrick, his son, giving some tests to his basketball players that defied belief. Actually, that's true, isn't it? You couldn't say that about many tests, but that one maybe. Anyway, that's all coming up on the Lexus halftime show.
Now, as we just mentioned, Notre Dame would really like to get a hand on this ball. And early in the season, I think special teams is what worries coaches the most. The security of getting the ball snapped, held, and up without getting a block.
Matt Gutierrez, the backup quarterback, who would have been the starter, but for an injury, is the holder. Mann, the snapper, and Rivas, the kicker. 22 yards. And no problem, Rivas boots it through for his third field goal of this first half. And the Wolverines up their lead to 9-0 as the first half comes to a close. So 3 field goals, 2 of them the result of Notre Dame turnovers. And Michigan leads 9-0. The Wolverines also had an excellent goal line stand, holding Notre Dame at the 1-yard line. Let's go to Lewis.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Defense has played so well, but what do you have to do with this offense with the 2 turnovers so far today?
Well, I mean, that's it. When you have 2 turnovers, we've really stopped our own momentum. We got in a position where we started to gain some ground, gain some yardage on the ground, and that helped open up a few other things. And now what you have to do is be able to maintain that consistency, eliminate the turnovers, put 1 on the board, and then you got a hell of a game going.
All right, Coach, thanks. Tom?
All right, Lewis. So Coach Willingham finally seeing some signs of life from his offense.
Absolutely.
9-0 at halftime. Now stay tuned for the Alexis halftime show with Jimmy Roberts. And that's coming up from our New York studios as we renew one of the greatest rivalries in all of college football. The 2 winningest teams in college football history. 9-0 game at halftime. Now we'll go to Jimmy Roberts after these messages and a word from your local NBC station.
Welcome to the Lexus Halftime Show. Lexus and their passionate pursuit of perfection.
And hi, everyone. Jimmy Roberts in New York with the Lexus Halftime Show. Busy afternoon in college football, and we get you started with probably the first big real upset of the season. And boy, was it ever a doozy. Fresno State, Kansas State, second quarter. Fresno State quarterback Matt Pinniger hits Matt Rivera from 10 yards out. Bulldogs up 24-14. Third quarter now. Pinniger dropping back and finding that man again. Rivera out of the backfield, 29 yards for the touchdown. Fresno State up big at that point, 38-14. They hold on to win it by a score of 45-21. And after the win last week at Washington, the Bulldogs hand Kansas State only their second non-conference home loss in 14 years. Fresno State unranked, but probably only till tomorrow. Southern Miss and Nebraska. Nebraska leading 10-9 in the third. Huskers quarterback Joe Daly finds the tight end, Matt Harrion, the 13-yard touchdown. Nebraska up 17-9. Nebraska now up 17-15 in the fourth quarter. Southern Miss quarterback Dustin Almond absolutely nuts one to Marvin Young. 46 yards for the touchdown, putting Southern Miss ahead for good. They go on to win this one, 21-17. Nebraska suffers its first non-conference home loss in 13 years. Hey, Frank Solich got fired last year for going 9-3. This is going to be a long, or maybe we should say a short season for Bill Callahan. Auburn and Mississippi State. Auburn wins big. Ronnie Brown and Cadillac Williams combined for 269 yards. Auburn's now 2-0, but the co-defending national champs LSU come into town next week. Ball State and Purdue big in this one. The Boilermakers, they've now outscored their first 2 opponents 110-7. Kyle Orton 9 touchdown passes in 2 weeks. And following today's game, log on to NBCSports.com, click on a special section, NBC's Notre Dame Central, for in-depth coverage of Michigan and Notre Dame, plus check out analysis and commentary from Pat Hayden. It's all at NBCSports.com. Well, oddly enough, there's also an NFL game this afternoon. Tennessee at Miami moved up a day because of Hurricane Ivan. Down to Miami we go, second quarter, scoreless. Steve McNair with the play-action pass, and he finds Aaron Kinney in the touchdown, in the end zone for the touchdown. Third quarter now, A.J. Feely in for Jay Fiedler, and he finds Lamont Thompson. Unfortunately, he plays for Tennessee. 37 yards later, it is 14-0 Titans. Titans are able to hold on, win this one 17-7. Feely and Fiedler combined for 3 interceptions. And when we return, a story that may surprise you. Some schools have been giving football players college credits for, well, just for playing football.
Student athlete. Notice the word student comes before athlete.
In Division 1A football, student athlete is largely an oxymoron.
At a lot of schools, the emphasis is more on remaining eligible.
This is a form of very blatant cheating.
Halftime at Notre Dame Stadium, with the Wolverines leading the Irish 9-0. The 8th-ranked Michigan Wolverines taking advantage of a couple of Notre Dame turnovers for 6 of those 9 points. And Pat, from the Notre Dame standpoint, their offense showing some signs of life, but the bottom line is same old result.
Well, you know, they did score a touchdown, did score a point. Actually, their last 3 ball games, they did not score a touchdown in the first half. So, yeah, there's a reason to be optimistic, but ultimately you got to get that ball in the end zone. 2 interceptions caused, 6 points. Good goal line stand by Michigan's defense. That's why we're at 9-0.
Take a look at our serious halftime stats, and you see that Michigan has an edge in first downs, but Notre Dame has outrushed them. Total yards in favor of the Wolverines, who also have an advantage in time of possession. The big stat, those 2 turnovers by Notre Dame.
Yeah, those are the 6 points. I think this edition Notre Dame looks a lot like last year. So in the second half, Kent Bear's defense needs to create some sort of turnover, bring an interception back, fumble recovery back, or get a big play out of the special teams.
All right, the second half is coming up from Notre Dame Stadium. The Irish making their way back onto the field. Their famous sign, "Play like a champion today." They trail Michigan 9-0. Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, Lewis Johnson ready to start the third quarter with our producer Jim Bell, director John Gonzalez. Some stretching for the Irish before they take the field, and they will be on defense. It's Derek Curry, and behind him Justin Tuck. They'll be on defense to open the second half, as Michigan has held an opponent scoreless in the first half for the 8th time in their last 15 games.
Let's see, look at Lloyd Carr and Tyrone Willingham. Only 3 penalties between the teams in this first half. Michigan's only actually had 2 penalties in their first game and a half, which tells you a little bit about Chad Henne and his kind of the way he handles the game.
First meeting between these two back in 1887, a Michigan shutout, as was the last meeting before today.
Well, you got 4 points for a touchdown in 1887, so it was 2 scores, 2 touchdowns to nothing.
And the Michigan with a shutout of Notre Dame so far in the first half here. 9-0 Wolverines lead, about to get the football. And set to kick it off for Notre Dame is Carl Joya, with Breston and Jackson deep. There's Joya.
Yeah, the Irish fans would like to see him on the field a lot more, wouldn't they?
Walk on now on scholarship. Joya puts his foot to it. Taken by Breston at the 1-yard line. And Breston, the flag is down. And Breston twisted down at the 40-yard line. A big return by Steve Breston, but a flag on the play. Tackle made on special teams by Anastasio.
How about Ryan Robinson last week of Miami, Ohio against Michigan? He had 204 yards of returns that counted. He had another one called back.
He looked very special. This one comes back as we check in with Lewis.
All right, Tom, thanks a lot. Well, I talked with Lloyd Carr as he came out of the tunnel a few moments ago and asked him about this stingy Notre Dame defense and how is he going to counter that in the first half. He said, really, the problem is that they lost David Underwood, their senior running back, early in the game. So now he's running a lot of young running backs out of that backfield, which is a problem. Dropped some passes on offense, but he said overall he's pleased with the way Chad Henne, his young quarterback, is handling it. And, going back to last week, Tom, in that game against BYU, he asked Henne, were you nervous then? He said, yeah. He said, well, you're going to be nervous here in this game because this is a big scene, a big situation, but just settle down, take it easy. If you make a mistake, regroup. It would be a tough game for even a fifth-year starter to walk into. Tom?
Game last week against Miami of Ohio when Henne performed so well. And a handoff to Jackson. Jermaine Jackson breaking loose for a gain of 12 before Tom Zibikowski tackles him. And the first play of the second half, a big run gain for the Wolverines.
And Tom, there's so much more to playing quarterback these days in college football than just dropping back and finding receiver and throwing the ball. We talk about managing the game, getting guys in and out of the huddle so you don't have clock problems, calling the protections, getting the formations right. I mean, he's been able to do all those things quite well.
And he has a first down after that run by Jackson. Jackson again. This time stopped after a yard. Stuffed by the center of the Notre Dame defense, Greg Pauley and others.
Tom Zibikowski.
Yeah.
By the way, a very good fighter, Tom Zibikowski. 70 amateur fights. He was out in the lobby at halftime.
Muhammad Ali was in the lobby of the press box here at halftime, so Zibikowski, I'm sure, would be pleased to meet the great one, the greatest. Second down and 10. Nickel defense for the Irish. Fake the handoff. Henny being chased by Tuck. Still managed to get the ball away and complete it to Edwards. Look how strong Edwards is. Carries 4 Irish. Preston Jackson was first to hit him. And for a gain of 2 or 3 yards.
Well, you know, you talked about being chased by Justin Tuck. That's a scary thing for any quarterback that's going to play against number 44, Justin Tuck. Stays at home, and watch the acceleration this guy. You know, he's 265 pounds now. Very good ball placement there, though, by Chad Henne.
And look how strong Edwards is.
60, he does 500 push-ups every single day. Outdoing you by quite a bit.
499. Third and 7. Henny's pass on target, but Goolsby makes an immediate hit on Braylon Edwards and looked like he prevented the first down.
You know, I just don't understand those routes on 3rd and 7 when the receiver stops. Yeah, I can understand throwing a slant when you catch it on the run and you can run for the first down, but, you know, when you catch that 6-yard hook on 3rd and 8, whatever it is, it just, you know, very rarely you're going to be able to pick up the first down, and particularly when you got a middle linebacker like Mike Golston
on your back. So Carlisle Holiday awaits the punt from Adam Finley. Low punt. Holiday takes it on the run. Carlisle Holiday. Nice open field tackle on special teams made by Manning. 12-yard return of a 36-yard punt. Monday night at 9, 8 Central on NBC. Don't miss the season premiere of the hottest show on television, Las Vegas. The man who went to war comes back with a proposal. Catch it all in the season premiere of Las Vegas. That's Monday night at 9, 8 Central here on NBC.
I see Darius Walker, number 3, in for Tyrone Willingham, a guy that really kind of started, you know, the spark in a couple of offensive series for the Irish in the first half.
Freshman at tailback. Give it to him using his blockers. And Walker hit hard as he gets to the 45-yard line. Roy Manning and Ernest Shazer combining to stop the freshman from Lawrenceville, Georgia. He's using the block of Dan Stevenson to good advantage there.
Dan Stevenson, Mark LaVour on the right side in particular for the Irish offensive line have had a nice job, had a nice first half. John Sullivan, we mentioned that the sophomore center getting his second start for the Irish, highly touted at Old Greenwich, Connecticut.
Well, it was a tough decision for John whether to play water polo or football.
He played high school javelin, he played rugby, wrestled, played football.
Tennis, golf. Walker, Michigan strings it out, and Walker has no place to go. Close to the first down, however. Shazer and Jackson wouldn't let him turn the corner.
Well, they really hope that John Sullivan, number 78, the center for the Irish, is going to turn into another great center here. Jeff Fain.
Is there a flag down? Yes, a flag right on the sideline.
It looked like he shaved, didn't he? John Sullivan came in yesterday with a beard.
That's right.
Looked like he...
Incidental face mask, number 3. Defense, 5 yards. Results in a first down.
That's Marlon Jackson, the Michigan number 3. And it results in a Notre Dame first down.
Comes in from the left, right there. Yep. Call. Marlon Jackson. Back to playing corner. Marlon Jackson was an All-American corner 2 years ago. Moved to free safety last year. Struggled a little bit, but back to corner. And between him and Marcus Curry, 2 very good corners that quarterbacks in the Big Ten are going to face.
Irish in Wolverine territory at the 46. Play action fake. Brady Quinn on first down. Plenty of time. Down the sideline. Has his man, but the ball hangs up. Still caught by Shelton. Matt Shelton, one of the fastest of the Irish, got behind his man Curry. The ball hung up a little bit, but Shelton, using strong hands, tuck it away for the 46-yard touchdown.
You know, Tony, you're going to be covered in college football a lot. It's how you adjust to the ball in the air on those deep balls, I think, would create, you know, really good players. And what a terrific adjustment by Matt Shelton. Jumped up, caught it at the highest point, and just took it away from Marcus Curry.
Now he's going to hold for Fitzpatrick's extra point, is Shelton.
They always have this swinging gait, does Notre Dame.
There it swings.
Did Fielding Yost use the swinging gate?
He might have. Fitzpatrick to the point after. Bad snap, but Shelton got it down, and Fitzpatrick sneaks it through the upright. It's good, so Brady Quinn, 46-yard touchdown pass to Matt Shelton.
You know, the growing confidence of this Irish offense, you know, and if you can't stretch out a team, they need some of these big plays to get out of this funk. Could, you know, give him a chance, and that's just what Brady Quinn did. A terrific adjustment by Matt Shelton.
The ball hung up, and, you know, Quinn looked to the right, nobody there, and went back to Shelton after looking the other way, so that probably helped Shelton get free.
You know, and really the first time Marcus Curry, who played very well in the first half, was beaten. He had an interception, saved a touchdown on a tackle. And a very excited Irish bench.
That touchdown ended a 104-minute scoreless drought, 7 quarters against Michigan. Ty Willingham and the Irish close within 2 of the Wolverines at 9-7 with 11 minutes left in the third quarter. Matt Shelton, one of the fastest Irish, a 60-meter indoor specialist in track and field, scored the Irish touchdown. And now, Joya to kick off. 46-yard touchdown pass by sophomore Brady Quinn. Preston and Mason are deep for Michigan. Joya's kick is short and bounces out of bounds. Well, the Irish can't stand prosperity.
Bring it out to the 35, right?
35-yard line. Good field position for the Wolverines.
Well, now you see how, you know, maybe your freshman quarterback Chad Henne responds. They had a comfortable win last week, but now he finds himself on the road, up by 2 points in a rivalry game. Boyd Core talked to us this week about the 3 rivalry games that they have on their roster. This being, you know, Michigan State and Ohio State, of course. We said this is one that has perhaps more national attention. All college football fans follow this score.
Well, it is the 2 winningest programs in 1A. For many years, Michigan had more wins. Notre Dame had a better percentage, but with their win over Miami of Ohio, Michigan also took the lead in percentage. Michael Hart is the tailback. And penalty flags for delay of game.
You need to sense that momentum change, you know, going on. Big Mo kind of
delay of game. Offense number 7, 5 yards. The down remains first.
Only the 2nd penalty for Michigan this year, and that's hard to do coming off the bench like that. I mean, with a delay of game penalty.
Meanwhile, Chad Henne continues to wield a hot hand. He's hit 6 for 6. 12 of 18 overall. Play action fake. Henne looking downfield, going deep. Edwards can't get there. Did it look to you, Pat, that Edwards really wasn't running full speed?
He did. You know, the other thing is you got to try to keep the ball in play to give your guy a chance, but I don't know whether he was expecting that ball, but he looked like he was the #1 receiver. He is wearing a little stop and go, ran one of these earlier, made a real good adjustment. He just couldn't find him. He did stop. Felt the ball was going out of bounds. Made a nice adjustment on one earlier. You know, we talked about him having football charisma. We had a chance to talk to him this past week. Interesting guy. Very good student, 4.0 last semester.
Right. His dad, Stanley, was a Michigan football player and NFL player.
Graduate in December.
Play action fake. Henne delivers this pass. Oh, Edwards made a sparkling catch as he turned around to make the grab in front of Dwight Ellick for 11 yards.
You know, nice play by Michigan, but if there's better ball placement, he catches that, maybe runs for the first down, right? It's just one of those plays. As you watch the tape tomorrow, you'll say, nice, great catch, and Chad, you know, hard throw, but if you get it out in front of him so he doesn't have to turn back, maybe he can pick up another 4 or 5 yards and gets the first.
Well, Braylon Edwards, though, is the real deal, that's for sure. 3rd down and 4 now for the Wolverines. 3 wide receivers, Savant, Edwards, and Breston. Henne from the shotgun. Crossing pattern, Breston stopped short of the first down by Carlos Campbell.
This Notre Dame defense, you know, the offense has picked it up. Notre Dame defense has played well for a game and a half. And that was a big play and a big tackle by Carlos Campbell right there. Preston Jackson, Dwight Ellick, Carlos Campbell. Campbell was beaten twice last week on long plays, but makes a great stop there, force a punt.
Adam Finley back on the field for Michigan. Fifth punt will head toward Carlisle Holiday.
Has over 5,000 career punting yards. That's a good or bad stat.
Yeah, not necessarily what you want to see. Gets his foot into this one, and Holiday standing at the 15, fields it. Double clutch, flag down. Shazer was the man flying in the face there to make the tackle. Holiday probably should have made a fair catch on that one.
Well, they didn't give him an opportunity to catch it, did they?
Could be it.
I saw number 4 kind of run right by him, Darnell Hood.
Punt was 42 yards. 6 on the return. Let's see if that holds up.
Interference with the opportunity. Kick catch interference. 15 yards. First down.
That was Darnell Hood. And there it is. That caused Holiday to double clutch. He got control. And before that, big play made on defense by Carlos Campbell. Prevented the first down, and the Irish take over with good field position. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Lowe's, where you'll find all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, improving home improvement. By Allstate, are you in good hands? And by Subway, living well and eating well is about making choices. We're glad we're one of them. Subway, choose well. Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, Lewis Johnson, Notre Dame Stadium. Irish takeover, trailing by 2. First down at their own 36-yard line. Darius Walker back to the line of scrimmage. Not much more as we check in with Jimmy Roberts for an update. Jimmy?
Well, Tom, Louisville and Army at West Point. The Bobby Ross era underway. Second quarter, Cardinals up 10-0 already. Michael Bush takes the handoff, goes right into the end zone. 12 yards the score. That made it 17-0. For the Cardinals, it just got better, and all the worse for Army. It's their 16th consecutive loss, their 25th in 26 games. 572 total yards for the Cardinals. Tom, back to you.
All right, Jimmy, I tell you what, the Cardinals have a lot of offensive weapons. Make no mistake about that. Quinn's pass intended for Holiday. A little hand fighting going on with Marcus Curry, and it's incomplete.
Terrific block there by Darius Walker. We talked earlier about one of the things for a young running back is to be able to pass protect. One of the big adjustments for high school running backs. But I tell you, Darius Walker did a terrific job of picking up a blitzing linebacker, number 3, right there in the middle of your screen.
Right.
Yeah, right there on Pierre Woods, the outside linebacker from Michigan.
And excellent coverage by Curry to knock the ball away from Holiday. So third down and 10. That'll be 5 yards. It'll make a 3rd and 15 as Dan Stevenson moved early.
Dan Stevenson's played well for the Irish, and only the 3rd penalty on Notre Dame this game.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5 yards. The down remains 3rd.
You know, the Irish have had 2 explosive plays this game, which we didn't see a lot of last year in the passing game in particular. Maurice Stovall had that one long catch, and then the touchdown catch by Matt Shelton. And they need another one now.
Careful here, though, on 3rd and 15 with Jackson and Curry, those 2 excellent corners for Michigan. Quinn across the middle, and ball is intercepted, deflected and intercepted. Marcus Freeman should have had it. Lawrence Reed instead comes away with it for Michigan.
You pick up the stat sheet tomorrow, you say the quarterback threw a 3rd interception. That was not Brady Quinn's fault. A perfect throw inside to Marcus Freeman. He had to throw it hard because there was real tight coverage. And I think he would have picked up the 15 yards for the first down. Right down the gut. Had him. Right off his shoulder. And then Lawrence Reed, who's done such a good job stopping the run, picks up the interception.
Well, with good hands, just snatched it right off the grass. Freeman makes the tackle, but another turnover, the 3rd of the day for the Irish that have led to 6 points for the Wolverines. Hand off to Hart.
It's a good linebacker play, Tom, both teams.
Indeed. Hart stopped at the line of scrimmage. Notre Dame has succeeded, for the most part, in stopping the rushing attack of the Wolverines, who lost their starter, David Underwood, early with an injury.
Only 46 rushing yards for Michigan on 22 carries. And just as Kent Baer said to us yesterday, we've got to stop the run first, force them in a second and long and third and long, and they've done it. And that's why it's a 2-point ball game.
3 interceptions by Notre Dame, by Michigan off Notre Dame, and 2 of those off the hands of the receivers. That one complete, just a yard short of the first down to Ecker, the tight end. Tackle made by Mike Goolsby.
Tyler Eckler probably made the most significant catch for Michigan all of last year in the fourth quarter against Ohio State. 30-yard catch to keep a drive alive, seal a win over their arch enemy, Ohio State. Didn't catch a lot of balls, but very productive. Came back after a 2-year Mormon mission last year.
It's third down and a yard. Jerome Jackson is the running back. Dudley is the fullback. Dudley in motion. Pass, Henney to Edwards. Edwards goes one-on-one and gets the first down. He got by Ellick. Buttonsack then came to get the tackle, but not until Braylon Edwards had the first down.
You know, Lloyd Carr can surprise you. You know, he's been there 25 years. He looks like a football traditionalist. You win with defense, you win with special teams, but on a 3rd and 1, when they really need it.
With a freshman quarterback.
Freshman quarterback, they throw the ball outside, but why not when you have Braylon Edwards?
So the drive continues for the Wolverines. They lead at 9-7, trying to convert another Notre Dame turnover into points. Just under 7 minutes to go, third quarter. Henney sets up a screen pass, incomplete over the head of Jackson.
I think when defensive linemen read that screen early, as Derek Landry, I think it was Trevor Laws as well, they read that screen early, they force that quarterback to lob it. Boy, it's a dangerous throw, and Preston Jackson was almost there. The front 7 for Notre Dame, actually all the entire 11 on defensive play.
Corey Mays comes in at a linebacker on 2nd and 10. Look at Zibikowski. And the safeties. In the flat, sure tackle of Rembert made by Preston Jackson.
Tell you one thing we know about Notre Dame, they're good tackles. There haven't been a lot of broken tackles in this ballgame.
It'll bring up another 3rd down for the Wolverines.
I haven't really seen a lot of blitzing out of Notre Dame against Chad Henne, and maybe there's such respect for these 3 outstanding wide receivers, you don't do that. But this would be a great time to bring some people, try to get a sack, take them out of field goal range.
3rd down and 8 from the 30. Henne, they pick up the blitz, but the pass deflected and incomplete.
It may have been Derek Curry, number 49, one of the linebackers who got his hands on the ball, his strong hands on the ball. Here comes the field goal team. And
already, Garrett Rivas has a career-high 3 field goals in the game.
His career long is 47. Watch the hand up. No, it wasn't. It was number 66, Derek Landry. He played well earlier in the screen pass just a moment ago, too.
47 yards would equal his career high. Rivas puts his foot to it, and it is good. Just made it over the crossbar. His 4th field goal of the game, a career long and a career high with 4 field goals in one game. Michigan has to settle for another field goal after the Notre Dame turnover, but they extend their lead to 12-7. 12-7 game. Michigan leads with 5:57 to go in the third quarter. The 3rd interception thrown by Notre Dame leads to another 3 points by Michigan. They've gotten 9 of their 12 as a result of those 3 interceptions. Nienberg's kickoff taken by Anastasio. And Anastasio breaks free for a moment. And then finally taken down after a pretty decent return. And the Irish take over. And now it's time for our Hall's Fruit Breezer screaming fan of the game. Like the outfit, but I don't know. And you know,
it must be a freshman.
You never know who might show up at Notre Dame Stadium. That's Dickie V. Both his daughters played tennis here at Notre Dame, but these got to be the winners.
Yeah.
Is that a chef's hat?
They win both the primary.
No wonder they're green.
And the general election. You're right. That would be a parent paying $30,000 plus if you see your kid doing on Saturdays.
Here's Walker on the pitch, trying to sweep. Made a nice cut up. Twisted down beyond the 30-yard line to about the 31.
The Irish faithful have to be happy about the way Darius Walker has come in and played in his first game. Did not play last week, and you know he wears number 3, kind of a special number around Notre Dame. Joe Montana wore it, Rick Meyer wore it, Ross Howlis wore it. And he's got 48 yards on 13 carries. You know, good ball security, too. They haven't really even come close to fumbling ball.
You can't wait to jinx him, can you?
Oh, yeah. Hope it doesn't.
2nd down and 4. Here he is trying to sweep on the other side. Powers Neal blocking, but great penetration from Marlon Jackson or Marcus Curry. And Reed got into the backfield and made the shoestring tackle on Darius Walker.
Yeah, Marcus Curry gave up the touchdown, but boy, he has played very, very well. Remember the touchdown-saving tackle he made the first half that Notre Dame would have danced into the end zone and had an interception. See the 4 tackles and the 2 interceptions last week and another interception this week.
So here's a 3rd down play for the Irish. 3rd down and 3 from their own 33-yard line. Got the I formation. Walker's the tailback. Powers Neal the fullback. Walker, freshman, hit the line of scrimmage, falls forward, but appears to be just a bit short. Let's see where they mark it. See that yellow line? Well, he got a pretty good spot, but just short if you believe that yellow line. Pierre Woods made the saving tackle for Michigan.
There's a guy that had a big year last year. 14 tackles for loss, 7 sacks. I think the right decision here by Tyrone. You just give up too much field position if you go for it. Punt it away. You know your defense has played sensationally, which they have. They'll play their little field position game right now. And again, watch out for Steve Breaston, this guy, number 15.
Fitzpatrick. Preston calls a fair catch. Fumbles the football. Still loose. The Irish think they have it, and they do.
You know, Tom, I think Preston tripped over one of his teammates. I don't think it was an Irish player. Way Carr saying he didn't have the opportunity to catch the ball, but I think he just actually tripped over one of his teammates. And that's the guy who snapped it. I think Casey Dunn, who made the recovery.
Casey Dunn recovers it. Here it is.
He just trips over his own guy. So he couldn't field the ball cleanly. And Casey Dunn, who both snapped the ball and then hustled down to make the recovery.
Look at Coach Carr. He was hot. But as you said, it looked like a Michigan blocker was engaged with the Notre Dame man, and they both sort of got in his way. No call, and the first Michigan turnover. Here's Walker looking for a seam. None there. Lost a yard.
Well, that's a perfect opportunity after a turnover like that. Yeah, field position to give a little play action fake and get the ball downfield.
Woods and Jackson on the stop for Michigan.
You know, these long snappers, they don't get a lot of credit. Oftentimes they're walk-ons, as Casey Dunn was. And then you work and you work and you work, and one of the most important people on your team. You can't get that ball back, and you have to get a punt off.
Ryan Grant comes in at tailback. Flag down. And a step off coming against Notre Dame.
False start, offense, 76. 5 yards. The down remains second.
That was Bob Morton with a false start.
I'll take another look at the punt return fumble. There's the signal for the fair catch, but his right foot just trips over his teammate.
Right.
So he just
turned him sideways, didn't
he? Yeah, never can gather the ball. It's a good call by the officials. No call, I should say.
Second down now. Quinn being chased. Got away. Throws a dangerous pass, incomplete. Intended for Fasano, I believe. Right to the sideline. Yes, it was.
Brady Quinn is a young quarterback, a young man easy to like. I mean, he's got a lot of charisma about him, got great leadership skills. And from January on, even though he was a true freshman last year, the coaches said he kind of took over the leadership role of this team. And they're only going to go as far as they can offensively, as well as he plays. And he has great ability if they can protect him. Got hit way too many times last week and last season.
Third down and 16. And a timeout has been taken by Notre Dame. Timeout Irish facing a big 3rd and long when we come back to Notre Dame Stadium.
Sunday.
It's being called the most powerful storm ever.
An NBC movie event.
She's not gonna let us out.
Look out! George Clooney.
Mayday!
Mark Wahlberg in the network premiere of The Perfect Storm. NBC Sunday, 8/7 Central.
Final minutes of the third quarter. While we were away, the band's dueling with the 2 best fight songs in all of college football. The Victors for Michigan and the Victory March for Notre Dame. It'll be about a week before those get out of my head. Big 3rd down and long here for Notre Dame. At least want to get into field goal range. Brady Quinn, plenty of times, going for 6. Stovall's there. And the pass by Quinn just hung up too long and carried Stovall out of bounds, and Hall able to break it up for Michigan.
Yeah, just not enough zip on that. Maybe just a little bit too much air on that. Throw that a little bit on a line, and you have an open Maurice Stovall for a big play. Good catch-up speed by Leon Hall. Really kind of their 3rd corner, but a legit corner.
But Stovall was behind him. The pass just hung up too long, and Hall was able to recover. So it means a punt.
Yeah, you can't punt this ball in the end zone. This is when you're playing a game of field position right now.
Fitzpatrick. Low line drive punt. Just pooch it down. And it'll be down to the 5-yard line. Stovall downed it. So the Irish get the turnover, but they can't score off of it. They do have Michigan backed up deep in a 12-7 game. 12-7 Michigan back at Notre Dame football presented by Lowe's. Chad Henne, the freshman quarterback, 17 of 26, 146 yards. Completed passes to 7 different receivers, but they're backed up at their 5-yard line. Hand off to Jackson. Jermaine Jackson, 2 or 3 tough yards. Let's go down to Lewis.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. Well, at the beginning of this game, all the Notre Dame players were running out of the tunnel, and I saw the senior linebacker, Derek Curry, come onto the field with this big chain. And I said, Derek, what in the world is this all about? He said it represents one thing for our defense, unity. He said, look at the links. The links of this chain cannot be broken, and that is what the Notre Dame defense has been hanging on today, linking together, trying to stop this Michigan offense. So far, they're doing pretty well. Tom?
All right, Lewis, are you supposed to wear shorts after Labor Day, Pat?
Oh, I knew you guys would catch me on that one.
The shaved leg look works for Lewis.
No, I didn't shave my legs, Tom. I promise you that.
You know, I really think you ought to sue those legs for lack of support, Lewis.
How about the chain? Does that go with it at all?
That is. Usually there's a dog attached to a chain that large.
The dogs are out on the field, Pat.
Braylon Edwards with that reception, a yard short of the first down. 3rd down and a yard.
Yeah, but Lewis mentioned, Derek Curry. A lot of good linebacker play, and Curry and Goolsby and Brandon Hoyt in particular for Notre Dame.
3rd down and a yard.
Timeout called, I think.
Timeout, Michigan.
I think it's a good use of a timeout.
Yep. Make sure this is a big play.
Yeah.
With 3rd down and a yard. And Don't forget, NBC returns to South Bend 2 weeks. Saturday, September 25th, the Fighting Irish will host Washington. Washington from the Pac-10 against Notre Dame, presented by Hall's Fruit Breezers. That's Saturday, September 25th, only on NBC.
We will play Michigan State. Tyrone Willingham's alma mater next. These receivers, we started at the beginning of this program talking about the great three receivers that Michigan brought into Notre Dame Stadium today. You see what they've done, 14 receptions. That's pretty good for them, but no touchdowns. And that's what makes Kent Baer, the defensive coordinator, and Tyrone Willingham very, very happy. So they've kept people in front of them, but nice day for Braylon Edwards.
10 receptions to go with his 6 from a week ago. Sole possession of second place all time on the Michigan receiving record book.
26 career touchdown receptions by Edwards.
Now 3rd and 1 for the Wolverines. Jerome Jackson in at running back. The fullback, the good blocker, Kevin Dudley.
He's a really good blocker, that fullback.
Jackson pounding ahead for the first down.
You know, we haven't seen much of Kevin Dudley today because of so many 3 and 4 wide receiver sets, but number 32 for the Michigan Wolverines, really a devastating blocker. And, you know, he's been lobbying Lloyd Carr all summer long about being able to score a touchdown.
Well, he got his first carry last week, right?
Yeah.
As Jackson gets the first down, Lloyd Carr applauds the fact that the Wolverines escaped the shadow of their own goal line to keep the drive going. Approaching the 30-second mark in this third quarter. Henny, play action fake, first down pass on target and intercepted. Dwight Ellick on the deflection from Edwards. Edwards normally with those super strong hands went upstairs but could not hold on. And Ellick on the deflection makes the interception.
Dwight Ellick has tremendous speed. Won the 100 meters in high school in both the states of New York and Florida. But here, great hip turn, great adjustment to the ball. I'll tell you, Chad Henne throws this ball awfully hard. And I think that's part of the problem why it went off the hands of Braylon Edwards. With Dwight Ellick right in front of his bench, gives his team a chance to take a lead.
Henne with his first interception. 2 of the 3 interceptions Notre Dame has thrown have been as a result of deflections. So Michigan with their second turnover of the game. On the sweep, Walker somehow managed to get inside the 25-yard line. O'Feely and Monday combined on the tackle when it looked like they had it strung out and stopped.
And a good block on the outside by Maurice Stovall, number 21 for the Irish, who kind of cleared a little path, kind of stayed on the defensive back, allowed Darius Walker to slip in behind him.
And that was the final play of the third quarter. At the end of the third quarter, it's Michigan 12, Notre Dame 7. We'll return to Notre Dame after these messages from your local NBC station.
NBC Tonight, an encore presentation of The Apprentice season premiere with 20 never-before-seen minutes from the boardroom.
Very nice.
Tonight, 8/7 Central.
President Bush and our leaders in Congress have a plan.
Lower healthcare costs.
Allow small businesses to band together to get insurance rates big companies get.
Tax-free health savings accounts families own.
Stop junk lawsuits against doctors and hospitals.
Keep doctors in their communities.
Health centers in every poor county.
Every eligible child with health coverage.
Learn more
at agendaforamerica.com.
I'm George W. Bush, and I approve this message.
2 seconds ago we led, and I can't tell what happened thanks to Mr. Big Head. Look at him. He's like Frankenstein's spawn. Anybody got a phone book I can sit on? Wait a minute. Can it be true? Mickey D's put an end to my obstructed view.
McDonald's is here to save the day with Johnsonville brats, grilled to perfection with onions and spicy brown mustard. Even better, 2 brats with a drink and hot fries.
Do you want $100? Just say, my ABC is WOTV4. Turn to WOTV4 for all your ABC shows and win cash. $100 to 4 winners a night.
Wow!
and you cash to choose ABC on WOTV4. Turn to WOTV4 for details and get paid to watch your favorite ABC shows on WOTV4. Yep. Every weeknight, say the phrase that pays. My ABC is WOTV4.
NBC Monday starts with an all-new Fear Factor and the stunt America's been waiting for.
I love you.
Then, the season premiere of the hottest show, Las Vegas. And the man who went to war is back to drop a bomb.
Will you marry me?
And it's finally here. Heather Locklear and Blair Underwood in the season premiere of LAX. All new Fear Factor, the premiere of Las Vegas, and the premiere of LAX. NBC Monday.
Depend on Storm Team 8, tracking severe weather.
At the start of the fourth quarter, Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture played with the band as the students in time with a W for Willingham. Tyrone Willingham as we start the fourth quarter here at Notre Dame Stadium. The Irish trailing Michigan 12-7. Notre Dame football presented by Lowe's. And for the third time, Notre Dame starts a drive in Michigan territory. The others resulted in an interception and a -6 yards and a punt. Here's Marcus Wilson going to throw a pass. Heaves it for the end zone, but too far intended for Shelton.
You know, nice call by Bill Dietrich and almost had it. I mean, look, Marcus Wilson kind of rushed it just a pinch. But Matt Shelton had an opportunity to slip by the defense. Kind of you could tell by the way he was running the entire way he was going to throw it.
Not a thing of beauty.
Yeah, but you know, Shelton had him beaten. Had Marlon Jackson beaten.
Pass way out of bounds, though.
Now, for Brady Quinn here, you know, you're obviously trying to pick up the 6 yards for the first down, but just avoid the sack, too, as you're trying to do that, because you're in field goal range right now, and you have a 5-point ball game with plenty of time.
That was the first play of the fourth quarter. Michigan showing blitz, and Quinn reads it and gets it complete to Stovall, close to the first down.
Now, this is the best Maurice Stovall has played in a long, long time.
He has the first down.
Yeah, fourth catch of the game for him. He caught the long one down the middle, and when they really needed a play, the 6'5" receiver runs the slant. He reads the blitz, so the first thing he did, made a smart play. Side adjustment, runs the slant, and then Brady Quinn sees the same thing, feels and sees the blitz, gets the ball to his big receiver.
That's when quarterback and receiver both have to side adjust. Successfully done. First down, Irish.
That's a nice play.
Cassano resets. Quinn with a first down pass. Rolling, looking back the other way, and missed. He short-armed it. It would have been a touchdown.
Well, Ryan Harris, it must have been a tackle eligible.
Ryan Harris, tackle eligible, number 68. Had a blocker in front and not a Michigan player in sight.
They ran an unbalanced line, allowed Ryan Harris, number 68, on the backside, and he was wide open. Big athlete at 290 pounds.
So 2 trick plays on this drive have both gone awry.
But, you know, I like the calls.
Yeah. That one would have been a touchdown. I assume he could ramble into the end zone. Nobody was close. Quinn beats the play clock and drills it complete. Stovall now playing with confidence, sits down and makes the reception. First and goal, Irish.
Remember when we were speaking with Bill Dietrich yesterday, the offensive coordinator said, we need Maurice Stovall to have a coming out party. You know what? I think it is. Good read inside that zone, settles down. Then he becomes a big old target. Your quarterback sees it. There's the window between the quarterback and the wide receiver. Catches the ball for another first down.
So first and goal from the 6. Remember, the Irish earlier had a first and goal. They wound up going for it on 4th down inside the 1, and Michigan turned them back. Walker to the end zone. Touchdown! Darius Walker scores his first collegiate touchdown.
Yeah, it was a great block by Fasano. You'll see in a moment number 88 on the right side.
Fitzpatrick will attempt the extra point.
They might go for 2 points.
Right? They might have, but they will not. They're going to kick it. And it's good.
Well, the first lead of the season, right, for the Irish?
First time the Irish have...
Probably go for 2, though. Great block there by number 88, Fasano. And an emerging star in Darius Walker for the Irish. Gets in the end zone.
He's gained 60 yards today, and that's his first collegiate touchdown. The freshman from Lawrenceville, Georgia, puts the Irish on top. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Lowe's, where you'll find all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, improving home improvement. By Adidas, impossible is nothing. By AutoZone, get in the zone, AutoZone. And by Konica Minolta, makers of BizHub, the hub of your business.
Tom, I think they're out of the funk, the offensive funk.
And they have a lead.
And still surprised they didn't go for 2 to try to make it a 3-point ball game.
I am. Joya ready to kick off to Mason and Breston. This is Breston at the 5. And Breston breaks a tackle and powers ahead to the 36-yard line. Good return by Steve Breston.
Hey, Tom, well, let's take a look at why that play was so successful. It was, you got 2 guys on this right side, these 2 tight ends, number 88 and 87, Marcus Freeman, that really seal block that outside. There's number 88, Fasano, 87 right there, Freeman, 73 right there, Mark LaVour, and then it's just a race to the end zone, and Darius Walker's going to win most of those. Well-designed, beautifully executed block.
Raymond McKnight was getting a block in the end zone, too. And so the Irish have a lead for the first time since November 29th, 2003 against Stanford, over 166 minutes.
Whew. You're incredible picking those things up, Tom. How do you keep track of everything like that?
I had to use all fingers and toes to count that one up. Nice run there by Jerome Jackson on first down.
And, Tom, for Chad Henne, his first time that he's behind in a college football game. How does a guy like this respond?
Jackson got about 3 yards on first down, and it looked like it was going to be a stop for no gain. Goolsby made the tackle. It's second down at 7.
One thing, Chad Henne appears, at least from my seat, to have a lot of huddle presence.
Second down 7 from their own 38. Play action fake. Henne. Sack. Derek Curry.
Yeah, I guess that chain worked. Derek Curry, if you're a defensive coordinator, this is the matchup you want. An outside linebacker being blocked by a running back. Number 24, Jerome Jackson, just misses him. It's a no-hitter and allows Derek Curry to make a big sack and put Chad Henne in a 3rd and 19 with his team down by 2.
And a look at Curry, who had to come out of the game. A draw play to Rembert. Zibikowski first to hit in. Goolsby there too.
Boy, it is tough to win on the road in college football. Lloyd Carr has known that. Lost the last 4 openers on the road. And he's got a very excited Irish team right now that leads by 2.
And they were wary, despite the Irish loss at BYU last week. Michigan expected this kind of game.
Yeah, and a 38-0 game last year. And Tyrone Willingham said to us yesterday he never wants to forget that feeling, or his team to forget that feeling of losing 38-0.
Blocked! Scooped out? No! They'll have it at the 5-yard line.
I think it was Chase Anastasio. I mean, that's good coaching, I think. You got him on the heels, you come after him. You got a team on their heels, and they don't let up. And I think it was number Chase Anastasio off the corner. You get that block, and if you're a punter, you just hate that sound of the double thud.
The thud. Corey Mays tried to scoop it up and score. Couldn't quite corral it.
Yeah, right down there. He got his left hand up. Did Anastasio. And at that point, just make the recovery. You know who else was there? I think it was number 48. Yeah, number 48 for the Irish. Jerome Collins.
First and goal at the 5. Walker. Made 2, missed. Made 3, missed. Fitzpatrick will attempt the point after. It's good. The Irish defense, the special teams with a block punt, and that emerging star, freshman Darius Walker.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the block punt. Chase Anastasio, Jerome Collins off the corner, just double thud it. And then, you know, the special teams can really turn around a game. And then you give it to Darius Walker. Same kind of play. He ran for a touchdown the right side. He breaks the tackle of Marcus Curry to get in the end zone and give Notre Dame the 21-12 lead.
2 touchdowns the last 2 times he touched the ball. 11:23 left, fourth quarter. Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, Lewis Johnson, Notre Dame Stadium. There was a dead ball penalty after that last play, the touchdown and the extra point. Called on Notre Dame. It was called on Mark Lavore of Notre Dame, a personal foul, which is assessed on the kickoff, which means the kickoff by Joya will come from the 20-yard line. So Mason and Breston await the kick, standing this time around their own 15-yard line. Joya's kick to Mason at the 20, 19. And hit hard. The Irish inspired now, experiencing some success for a change, and Nick Borsett delivered a blow to Mason to stop him after he had gained a couple of yards.
You know, I think there's nothing more devastating emotionally for a team than a block punt. And right now, Michigan is really reading. A year ago, they had a senior, John Navarre, to settle him down, see what kind of drive Chad Henne, the freshman, could put together.
Michigan has been playing virtually the entire game without David Underwood, their top running back, who was injured in the first quarter. Henne's pass deflected, incomplete by Greg Pauly.
Remember Ken Bear said to us yesterday, he said, I'm really happy with my inside guys. And Derek Landry's tipped the ball. Greg Pauly's now tipped the ball. Trevor Laws has played well. Justin Tuck, that man, number 44, has put a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
And he also said that I feel good about this game. I feel that we're going to play well.
Well, remember yesterday he was watching for the 15th time the 2002 Michigan Notre Dame game.
And what was he said this week in practice? He saw his linebackers at practice and says, I don't know if we're tough enough.
That got him fired up. They played great.
He knew exactly what he was doing when he said that to them. Here's Henne throwing underneath, and another great tackle. This one by Preston Jackson on Braylon Edwards.
Preston Jackson had
on Breston.
Had a 30-yard touchdown interception for a touchdown last week, but boy, has he tackled well today. 3 deflections, 5 knockdowns, a sack.
Third down. Henne steps up. His pass deflected. Incomplete. Preston Jackson again makes the play, this time on Tyler Eckert.
The combination of Justin Tuck's pass rush and a brilliant play by Preston Jackson forces another punt. And that's when you can have it really going on defense. When you put the pressure on the quarterback right down here, And so he just couldn't follow through. It wasn't allowed him to be accurate as he normally is. And then Preston Jackson makes a great knockdown. Good pass rush always makes good corners.
Finley had his last punt blocked. Carlisle Holiday awaits it.
Here's Esnazio down here to block the last one.
Return on this time, and a good boot by Finley. Chases Holiday back almost to the 15. And he won't get much farther than that. Sure tackle downfield by Hood. Darrell Hood limited Holiday to a 6-yard return after Finley booted 54 yards. Now it's time for the Xerox unexpected play of the game. And it's the block punt. The Irish recovered it and punched it in for a touchdown.
I used to have a punter on my team. You've got so many punts blocked. His nickname was Double Thud. Not a good nickname for him.
Unexpected play of the game brought to you by the document company Xerox, helping your company grow in unexpected ways. Irish take over. Flag is down. Darius Walker can't turn the corner this time. Ernest Shazer made sure of that.
It's pretty impressive freshman play. We've talked about Henny a lot. Obviously, Darius Walker getting his first taste of college football, and boy, he has emerged, hasn't he? 19 carries and 65 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Offside. Defense, 96. 5 yards. Repeat first down.
Larry Harrison whistled for offside.
You know, 9-point ball game at home. I think this is where offensive lines can really take control of the game. And then we said earlier, this offensive line had a chance to be pretty good. 4 returning starters, a new guy in John Sullivan, who they think is going to be a very good center.
It's kind of a mystery why they weren't better, huh?
Absolutely. But you're kind of grinding out, just kind of hanging on the ball and grinding out some first downs. You know, taking some time off the punt, punt it away, force Michigan to go a long way.
Walker. Tripped up. He almost had a huge game. Again, the tight ends, Freeman and Fasano, doing a good job blocking to spring Walker for a first down.
Lawrence Reed makes a touchdown-saving tackle, perhaps. You know, those tight ends, both of them caught 7 passes last week, but really they'd give all of those up for the way they're blocking right now. I mean, they've done a great job springing Darius Walker for those 2 touchdowns, and there for the first down right now. That's Lawrence Reed. I think it was Lawrence Reed, number 42. Just gets his left hand. You talk about a shoestring tackle. That actually is a shoestring.
Right on the
shoestring.
It was shoestring. Here's Walker again. Nice cutback. Fumbles the football.
You know, I think Dan Stevenson recovered it.
Wow, what a hustling play by Stevenson. If in fact he did, and he did. Dan Stevenson or John Sullivan, they're all down there trying to get it.
I think I saw a 4 on the ball.
Well, let's see.
Ball comes out, and again, we talked about the freshman running backs and ball security. Boy, big opportunity. You're right, it was 78. John Sullivan. Freshman, or actually freshman eligibility-wise, a sophomore from Old Greenwich.
That's that water polo training.
Rugby play.
Or rugby, right.
Yeah.
So the Irish lucky on that one as they recover the fumble, giving them a first down at the 47.
What does the coach do? They bring in the other running. As soon as the freshman fumbles, you bring in Ryan Grant.
Grant the tailback. Make it to him. Quinn's pass. Too low for Fasano.
What a nice play call and an easy throw. Sometimes the most difficult throws when you have that wide receiver or tight end wide open.
But Quinn has made several of those today, hasn't he?
Yeah, just didn't look like he quite gets his feet set. Well, of course, he's getting something in his face. But that's keeps the drive alive. That would have been a first down.
8 of 18 for the sophomore Quinn.
This time becomes a factor. Each team has 2 timeouts remaining.
Coming to the 9-minute mark. Stops on that incomplete pass at 9:09. And Darius Walker back in at tailback. Give it to him. And Walker bounces to the outside. Run out of bounds after picking up a first down by Ryan Mundy. Another good block from Fasano. Gain of 12.
Anthony Fasano. Darius Walker's only a freshman, but maybe you ought to take Anthony Fasano out for an ice cream cone or something after the game.
Or maybe two. You look at the size of that guy.
Exactly. You're going to need more than one. But Fasano right smack in the middle of this hole. Watch number 88. Just going to get right into the linebacker, Lawrence Reed.
And then Walker makes a man miss. The arm tackle won't bring him down. Mundy finally gets him and pushes him out of bounds.
Tyrone was right. He does see things.
He's gained 84 yards, Pat, averaging 4 yards a carry. Here's another carry. Cut back. A nice cut back. And he's inside the 35-yard line, tackled by Sean Crable. He's a little winded, asking for a breather as Marcus Wilson comes in.
You know, Tom, the Irish faithful have been waiting for the West Coast offense to arrive, and I think it has. They can keep this up.
Came out of Georgia, looks like today, in the form of Darius Walker.
Good point. Very good point. 46 rushing touchdowns last year in high school. Tyrone Willingham talking to us yesterday about the West Coast offense, and he said, you know, it's just kind of an extension of the running game. We have not been able to do it, but I have every confidence that we will get there.
Quinn in trouble, decides to tuck it under and fumbles the ball. And this time Michigan has it. Michigan with its 4th turnover. Michigan causes its 4th turnover of the game. This one a fumble by Brady Quinn, recovered by Prescott Burgess.
You know, because quarterbacks, I don't think just ever get hit much in practice. You talk about ball security for running backs and wide receivers, but sometimes he gets away from quarterbacks because they just don't get hit much in practice.
Brady Quinn's fumble gives the ball to Michigan, the 4th Irish turnover of the day, 21-12 Notre Dame.
You know, and Michigan needs 2 scores to win this thing with 8:10 remaining. I think they should be in a hurry up, Tom.
They haven't had much offense in the second half, only about 50 yards. That one is a fumble recovery by Notre Dame. Dwight Ellick, as Avant made the catch.
Boy, as Dwight Ellick played well this game.
After not playing so well against BYU.
Absolutely. But he has really come on and made not just some tackles, but some really ferocious tackles that cause guys to drop quickly, or in that case, cough up the ball.
So Michigan returns the favor with a turnover right back.
Good outside throw by Henning.
Jackson made a stab at it, and then Ellick just ripped it loose and then recovered. What a play. So Michigan, after a virtually mistake-free first half, have lost a fumble on a punt return, thrown an interception, had a punt block, and now another fumble.
You see Tyrone Willingham jump up and leap, and the incredible emotion. You don't see much out of Tyrone. But
right. And there's the mistakes that Michigan has made this second half. Marcus Wilson stopped by Scott McClintock. Clock ticks down inside 8 minutes.
You just kind of keep milking the clock. You know your defense is playing well. Brady Quinn, you talk about managing a game. This is where you have to manage it well.
Quinn pitches to Walker. Looking for a seam. Found a little one. Got a yard or two. Pat Massey stacked things up for Michigan.
Pat Massey, number 94 for the Irish, or for the Wolverines. His father played for Notre Dame.
One thing that his father played for Notre Dame, his late mother went to St. Mary's, yet he winds up at Michigan. One thing that the Notre Dame coaches and players too were saying, Pat, was that, look, BYU plays a really unorthodox defense, and some of that is the reason we look so bad, that it was just hard to figure out what they were going to do.
Yeah.
One tended to maybe discount that.
Right. Now, Michigan maybe has perhaps better personnel on defense, but they're much more basic. BYU runs that 3-3-5 defense.
Quinn going for McKnight. McKnight beat Curry for 27 yards.
Isn't it nice if you're a Notre Dame quarterback to see your wide receivers jump up, make adjustments in the air? We've seen it from Maurice Stovall, we've seen it from Matt Sheldon, and now from Rima McKnight. Rima McKnight coming off a game last week where he had some errors in the special teams area, but a nice play there when his team really needed it.
McKnight did catch 8 passes last week against BYU, but as you said, had some mistakes as well, especially that one punt he fielded inside the 5-yard line. But he's given the Irish a first down, first and goal right at the 10. Walker squeezed as he tried to squirt through the middle.
Again, if I'm Brady Quinn, just telling the freshman running back, make sure you secure the ball. You don't want to take it too much, talk to him too much, take too much of his enthusiasm away. But down here, managing the game with a little over 6 minutes left, you just don't want to turn the ball over. The Notre Dame defense has played well all game long. Special teams came up with a big block punt, and the offense has played as well as it has since Tyrone Willingham has been the head coach.
Second down and goal from the 9. Quinn's pass. Touchdown to Powers Neal. St. Paul, Minnesota on the 8-yard pass from Brady Quinn. And Fitzpatrick will line up for the extra point. And the extra point by Fitzpatrick is good.
Tom, there's nothing more to me reflective of a West Coast offense is throwing the ball to the fullback in the flat. Fullbacks are always seem to be wide open. Rashawn Powers-Neal caught 4 passes last week. Nice recovery there by Brady Quinn, who has struggled at times. But when his team really needs it, good throw to his fullback in the flat. And Tyrone Williams is a delighted guy.
Second half explosion by the Irish. Irish with 21 points already in the 4th quarter, and in the second half have outscored Michigan 28-3. And the Irish defense has held Michigan without a touchdown today.
This kind of offensive performance, though, and the emergence of Darius Walker, I think, give Irish fans hope, and they haven't had a lot of that over the last 12 months.
It also begs the question, how good is BYU?
Indeed.
Carl Joya has it teed up, ready to kick it off. Mason and Breston. Breston from the 6. Tried to reverse his field, made a couple of nifty moves, and then the roof caves in on him at about the 16-yard line in the form of Ambrose Wooden.
Tom, there's maybe 130 plays in the course of a football game. Do they usually turn on 4 or 5 of them? A mishandled punt by Michigan right there, and then Casey Dunn makes the recovery. And then the interception here by Dwight Ellick, who's played so well. But thought the biggest play of the game, the block punt by Notre Dame. And then again, once more, Dwight Ellick seizing the ball from the receiver Avant. Those 4 or 5 plays have really been the difference in this ballgame.
And I've seen more emotion out of Ty Willingham today than I've seen in 3 years.
Absolutely. I think his players like that. I think they feed off.
And his pass is low, incomplete, intended for Breston. The Michigan offense completely shut down in the second half by the Irish defense. And given that advantage, the Irish offense has suddenly come alive after dormancy for a season and a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Out of the doldrums now, and their defense, Notre Dame's defense, is going to give their offense a lot of chances this season. They keep playing like this.
Henny with good protection. His pass, though, over the head of Jason Avant, who was defended by Dwight Ellick. Stops the clock, 5:33 left. Well, Lloyd Carr knows how tough those Openers on the road are, and he knows how tough Notre Dame Stadium is. Michigan has had a tie, but hasn't won here since, what, 1994?
Close ball game when he was here 2 years ago, 25-23. Decided late in the game.
Under pressure, Haney is sacked. Justin Tuck for the second time today.
Tuck gets the sack, but Victor Abiamiri, number 95, should get a lot of credit because he forced Chad Henne to hold on to the ball, allows Justin Tuck to come from the backside. Two really good pass rushing ends. Abiamiri right here really forces him to duck, and that allows Tuck, number 44, to clean it up.
And clean it up he did. So Finley is on for another punt.
The decision to go for the block punt a while back, I thought was really, really good because Notre Dame really had Michigan on their heels.
Short punt taken by Carlisle Holiday. And Holiday takes it all the way back to the 42-yard line. That's been a good move for the Irish today, too, putting Holiday back returning punts. Had one big gainer nullified by a penalty. Things looking good for the Irish. It's been a long second half for Lloyd Carr and the Wolverines, the 8th-ranked team in the nation, trailing Notre Dame 28-12 after they were up 9-0 at halftime. Notre Dame's ball beginning at the 42 of Michigan. The offensive star of the game for the Irish, Darius Walker, the freshman running back, getting his feet wet today and coming through in fine fashion for the Irish. Lamar Woodley makes that stop. Walker is the first Notre Dame freshman to rush for 100 yards since Julius Jones had 146 against Navy back in 1999.
Well, if he can emulate Julius Jones, it's going to be a pretty good Notre Dame career. Julius rushing for over 1,200 yards last year. And I tell you, they get him in the open field for some big runs, and these wide receivers beginning to develop. You know, they have a chance of really developing a pretty good offense.
Play clock ticking down. They want to use as much of it as they can before handing it again to Walker. Trying to push his blockers out of his way. He made a nice cut back again. Gabriel Watson.
You know, Tom, to me, watching Tyrone Willingham get excited as we've seen it a couple times today. We haven't seen it a lot. Even in that 10-win season, you didn't see this kind of emotion. And I just kind of sense his young players love to see that out of the head coach. A high five to Rashawn Powers-Neal. That's a very different demeanor for Tyrone Willingham.
Michigan has taken a timeout. They have one timeout left with 3:53 on the clock.
The Ryder Cup's coming up.
Ryder Cup, which will be in Michigan. And Tyrone Willingham was being considered for a spot on the team. Look at him getting ready for the Ryder Cup. Let's look at his form. Would he be selected? Well, it looks good for him, but not quite.
Not quite good enough to make the Ryder Cup team.
But I'm sure he'll be interested in the result. And if you are too, we assume you are, one of the great golfing events. The Ryder Cup begins on USA next week and then winds up Saturday and Sunday on NBC.
Yeah, great golf track. Oakland Hills South.
Starts Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern and Pacific on USA, and then Saturday and Sunday on NBC. All the coverage of the Ryder Cup.
You won't tell anybody in my office how I'm watching Friday morning. I go in late. I promise.
I bet you'll be found out.
Well, you know, Tyrone Willingham, we saw him yesterday. We asked him how you're doing. He said, about as good as you can for a guy in my position. If he can hang on to win, he's going to really exhale this afternoon.
In fact, that's what he said next. He said, you know, a win would cure everything. I don't know if it'll cure everything, but it'll go a long way.
But against a worthy opponent.
Yeah.
You know, the 8th-ranked Michigan Wolverines, a team that won 10 games a year ago, that won the Big Ten.
And you know, all since that 38-0 blanking by Michigan last year, the coaches didn't want the players to forget that. They said in these workouts, do 38 reps. They were always reminded of the number 38. And we asked Tyrone about that too, and he said, I didn't want them to ever forget it. And said, not just as it relates to Michigan, but as it relates to the class football programs that we we have played because we haven't played well against the big names. Well, today they have. And here's what's coming up for the Irish. They go to East Lansing. You know what part of Michigan that's in?
East Lansing. We go to Lansing, then you go due east, I think. Yeah.
I had to pay you back.
Yeah. Washington, and then Purdue looks like they're a pretty good ball club, and an improved Stanford team.
We'll have all three of those games, of course, on NBC. And hats off to Kent Baer and the defense of the Irish. And I have to say that as we talked to him yesterday, Coach Baer was.
He looks tired.
Yeah, but he seemed pretty confident. And Lloyd Carr, he knew that there's Kent Baer. And Michigan knew they were going to have a battle.
Kent Baer was saying to us, after BYU, they arrived at 6:15 in the morning, went home, showered, came back to the office, was there till midnight Sunday night. Along with the rest of the staff.
On fourth down. Fitzpatrick with another pooch punt. Preston will let it bounce into the end zone for a touchback.
Casey Dunn, who made that long snap right there, is a guy that made recovery early in the game, but he has snapped well in punt formation. One of those talents that coaches really appreciate. Michigan offense this second half has not been particularly good.
Here's how good they have not been.
Okay, that's 8 possessions, 27 plays, 1 first down, 3 points.
Plus a lost fumble, an interception, and a block punt.
I mean, some of that's awfully good defense by the Irish. Wouldn't you admit? Dwight Ellick has played great.
And they've been without that man Underwood for virtually the entire game. Their top rusher injured in the first quarter. Henny's pass complete to Avant. Tackled by Carlos Campbell.
So much of football, I think, is a game of confidence, and maybe Notre Dame was a little staggered last week after the BYU loss, but I think a win at home against a quality opponent has got to give this team great confidence. I know they go on the road to Michigan State, but they're going to feel a lot better about themselves than they did last Sunday.
Dudley gets a carry, only his second of the season. If the players weren't staggered by the loss to BYU, the fans certainly were. Notre Dame's last 3 wins against top 10 teams: 1998 against number 5 Michigan, 2002 against number 7 Michigan. As Braylon Edwards takes it down, out of bounds, run out by Preston Jackson after the big gain of 27 yards.
Well, Preston Jackson has had a really good game. We talked about Dwight Ellick, but Preston Jackson, number 15, has played very well for the Irish. Very good tackler. A hustling play, ran about 40 yards to make that tackle on Braylon Edwards.
Clock becoming a factor. Almost 3 minutes. Henny on first down. Steps up. Finds his fullback Dudley. Dudley just a yard short of a first down. Tackled by Gouldsby and Curry. Let's go to Lewis.
Well, Tom, if you look out on the field, you look at Michigan player number 1, Braylon Edwards, their wide receiver. He had a chance to jump to the NFL after last season, but he chose to come back, he told me, because of a sour taste in his mouth. The big one was, of course, the loss to USC in the Rose Bowl last year, but he said he also had a sour taste in his mouth from the loss that they'd suffered 2 years ago against Notre Dame, 25-23. And Braylon telling me before the game that being in Notre Dame Stadium today was one of the reasons he chose to return. But it looks like at this moment, with 2:41 left on the clock, he'll have to leave here with that sour taste still in his mouth. Tom?
Clock stopped at 2:41 after the incomplete pass from Chad Henne. Henne with a handoff.
Should have got out of bounds there, right?
Rembert did not get out of bounds. Clock continues to roll after it stops for the first down.
Hit change movement. But you know who's probably the happiest about the emergence of Darius Walker as a rusher for Notre Dame? The defense. Yeah. The defense. It gives them a little hope too that their offense can score some points.
Derek Curry shaken up. So the clock will remain stopped. Stopped for the first down and then is restarted when the ball's ready for play. But still stopped as Curry is tended to.
You know, we talked to Tyrone Willingham yesterday about, you know, his offensive struggles, but this is a guy that has won in the Pac-10, beat all the big teams in the Pac-10, running his West Coast offense, was 2 times Pac-10 Coach of the Year, 4 bowl games, including a Rose Bowl game. And this could be a watershed game for his team.
But they'll have to go on the road next week at Michigan State and prove that this home victory was no fluke. You know, Michigan State has struggled as well, losing to Rutgers last week.
Excuse me, Tom. You also see why coaches want to play 7 games at home now. Notre Dame plays 6, but you know, it's just so hard to win on the road. And when you play the schedule that they do, some teams playing not only 7 games at home, 8.
Clock will start when the ball is marked ready for play, and Michigan's up on the line, ready to go. Chad Henne looking to the end zone, wide open, touchdown, Steve Breston.
10-point game now.
25 yards, Breston on the score on the pass from Chad Henne.
They need to go for 2 here. They have to go for 2 to make it an 8-point game to give themselves a chance. Chad Henne, for one thing, he has got an arm, doesn't he? A strong arm. Throw a greasy pork chop past a hungry wolf, as they say.
Look at Breston. Look at the fan wearing number 15. Breston score.
2-point play to make it a 8-point game.
Breston was wide open on that touchdown reception. And now the Wolverines go for 2. Henne rolls, delivers, caught. Breston for the 2-point conversion.
Well, Dwight Alec almost kept him out. But Steve Breston.
And Lloyd Carr trying to rally the Wolverines as Breston, with a touchdown reception and a 2-point conversion reception, pulls the Wolverines within 8. 2:27 left.
Absolutely. Good call. Turned up a little bit late and almost knocked out of on the sideline by Dwight Alec. The official right on the spot, hit the pylon into the end zone. That's a 2-point play. Lloyd Carr getting his team fired up. Now he's going to make the decision, do I attempt the onside kick? With 2:27 left, he's got no timeouts remaining.
Chad Henne now 24-39, 230 yards. That was his first touchdown pass. He has thrown an interception.
You know, I think if you had a few timeouts, maybe you kick it away and try to play defense. I think with no timeouts, Michigan has none. I think you have to attempt it.
That's the timeout situation. And the clock shows 2:27.
And in college football,
and see the way he's teeing it up there, Pat.
It's definitely going to be an onside kick. What you're trying to do is get that real high bounce. These are recovered about 10% of the time.
And this is Rivas, not Nienberg. So there's the onside attempt, and covered by Notre Dame. Maurice Stovall on the hands team collars it.
He's had some hands today, hasn't he?
He's had that breakout game.
Coming out party for 2 players, Maurice Stovall and the freshman Darius Walker.
Here's Walker, his first collegiate touchdown. And he wasn't finished yet. 28 carries, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the freshman.
And he's got some make you miss him.
He does, and he nearly broke free there.
Quick starts, too. Doesn't Darius Walker just get started so quickly? His eyes are always looking downfield.
And Pat, we said the other breakout game, Maurice Stovall, 5 catches, 82 yards today, and it was the way he did it, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Went over some people and made some adjustments to the ball in the air. Kind of settled down. Remember that one sight adjustment where we saw the blitz? It was a smart play by Maurice Stovall as well.
Michigan cannot stop the clock, which is inside 2 minutes. Inside the 40, tackled by Lamar Woodley.
You know, Tom, Tyrone had some big wins in his first season here when he did win 10 games, but after the way last season went, I don't think he's had a more significant win than this one today.
And isn't it interesting that if this one holds up for the Irish, that their last 3 victories against top 10 teams will all have been Michigan? Third down. Walker cuts up inside the 40, short of the first down. Scott McClintock makes the tackle.
Well, I think with you use the whole 25-second clock, take the penalty, then punt the ball away. Right?
Exactly.
Use all the 25 seconds. They haven't marked it for play then, so it's going to be down to about 20 seconds when the penalty goes off. They're actually going to use a timeout. Play clock gets down to about 2 is what you want to call it. The quarterback tells the referee.
Tells him, I'm going to call a timeout. Stands next to him usually, as he is right there. There he calls it with 1 second left.
Well managed.
And the Wolverines, only 20 seconds left to try to pull one out. Here's what they face coming up. They play San Diego State.
Good defensive team, San Diego State.
Then start Big Ten play against Iowa, Indiana, and Minnesota.
Defending Big Ten champs. But I'll tell you, right now, if Notre Dame's going to try to punt this ball, what do you think Tyrone will try to punt this with 20 seconds remaining?
Could just run around and let some time expire. What do you think? I think you go ahead and try to punt it.
Well,
you don't want to get a block.
Yeah, and Michigan will absolutely be coming after it. It's hard to run out 20 seconds, you know, kind of run around. So I think he probably has to punt it. And, you know, Casey Dunn, number 64, the long snapper. Boy, what a nice job he has done all day in a variety. But this is the biggest snap of the day for Casey.
Fitzpatrick is the punter. Michigan's going to come after him. Snap, a little low, but Fitzpatrick boots it away with no problem. Breston's going to let it bounce into the end zone. Batted back out. It didn't break the plane. Whoa, they're going to mark it inside the 5-yard line. It's the ball that counts. No matter where the players are, if the ball does not break the plane of the end zone.
Some really good special teams. First, to get this ball off. And DJ Fitzpatrick does a nice job of recovering a low snap.
And look,
that's all he wanted.
Carlos Campbell, bats it to Stovall.
As you said, even if he is in the end zone, that doesn't make a difference. If the ball's outside.
Right, the ball has to break the plane. And now they say it did, I guess, because they're bringing it out to the 20.
Okay.
But the rule is different from the NFL rule. It's the ball that counts, not the player.
9 seconds remaining, and it's very, very tough to throw a Hail Mary pass against Notre Dame.
9 seconds left, Ben, right? Chad Henne slipped, regained his feet, and fired a strike. Edwards faked a toss, and then was wrapped up at the 30 as time expires by Hoyt and Goolsby. A huge win for the embattled Tyrone Willingham. With a second-half explosion after trailing 9-0 at intermission, the Irish score 28 in the second half. Lloyd Carr looking for Willingham. And so the two teams now match identical 1-1 records. Notre Dame showed some signs of finally getting it together offensively in the first half, and in the second half, they most definitely did.
Yeah, Mike Goolsby, the linebacker for Notre Dame, said to us yesterday, they have to win all 3 phases. They did.
Let's go to Lewis.
All right, Tom, thanks a lot. Well, Ty, you told us that you just didn't believe that all the hard work that had been put in the offseason leading up to this season had vanished. You finally seen it. Let's talk about this win today.
Well, obviously, it is a
big win for us. I think our football team did exactly what they were coached to do, which was believe in themselves and believe in all the things that we've done. We got a great spark from our freshman back. He stepped in and stepped up big time, and it feels good.
Talk about the defense that held you together when the offense seemed to be struggling early on.
Well, you know, our defense has played, these first two ball games played pretty good for us. And the whole Michigan 3 quarters with no touchdowns, I mean, it's just great coaching and great playing. So, I mean, they gave us a chance, and at some point, I knew our offense would come alive.
Well, here's your guy right here, 31 rushes, 2 touchdowns. Come on over here, Darius. Coach says that the thing that impressed him about you was that you could see things. What were you seeing today that allowed you to get your first and second collegiate touchdown?
Well, I was just seeing holes. I got to give all the credit to the offensive line. They opened it up for me well, and all I was doing was running through holes. It really wasn't me that was doing it. It was the line.
Why were you guys able to be so much more effective today versus what we saw against BYU last week?
Well, I think we've been coached well. We've been coached very well. The coaches sat us down this week. They prepared us very well. We knew what we were up against. We knew what we had to do to come in and win, and we did it.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you.
John?
All right, Lewis and Pat, we've talked about a lot of the stars of the game for the Irish, and maybe we should echo Darius Walker and speak about the much maligned offensive line.
Yeah, I think they played particularly well the second half. And how about the tight ends, the way they blocked on those 2 touchdown runs by Darius Walker, Marcus Freeman, Anthony Fasano in particular. And so I think, you know, maybe the funk's over offense. But I was impressed. They hung. The defense allowed them a chance to kind of develop offensively. The offense came on, and the special teams were sensational.
A dramatic turnaround from their game 1 loss at BYU. 28-20, the Irish win it on a day that began by honoring the victims of 9/11 3 years ago with solemn pregame ceremonies, the flag flying at half-staff throughout the game, in a game that saw the gloom and doom of the Irish faithful do a 360. The fans were singing the blues coming into this home opener, and instead the afternoon ends with them storming the field in victory. The students rushing out onto the turf at Notre Dame Stadium after they beat a top 10 team, their arch rival Michigan, and they do it by scoring 28 points in the second half. It was indeed a dramatic turnaround by the Irish of Notre Dame, who go to 1-1. Final score again was Notre Dame 28 and Michigan 20. So for Pat Hayden and Lewis Johnson, this is Tom Hammond saying so long from Notre Dame Stadium. Hope you'll join us again 2 weeks from today as the Irish swing back into action as they host a Pac-10 foe. The University of Washington Huskies will be in here at Notre Dame Stadium 2 weeks from today on NBC. So long again as the Irish win over Michigan. You've been watching Notre Dame football on NBC.
Michigan just lost to Notre Dame 28-20. Lloyd Carr at the podium. Let's take a listen.
Well, we never quit. We felt we could still get the game into overtime, and we didn't get a very good kick on the onside kick, so that the ball kept alive there, and we'd have a chance to go down and get the game into overtime. But emotionally, that's what turnovers do. But I thought our defense continued to fight even after we had turned the football. I thought our defense, with the exception of 2 big plays, we got away with giving up a big play in the first half. Notre Dame got the ball down to the 1, and on 4th down, we made a great stand. That was great defensive football. But early in the 3rd quarter, the big play, that really, and that's what big plays do, it really changed the momentum of the game, and the crowd got back into the game, and I think it gave Notre Dame a lot of confidence.
Coach, the emotions, was one of your greatest concerns going into this was the emotions that Notre Dame would be feeling after such a poor performance, and everybody's writing them off this week.
Well, we weren't concerned about Notre Dame's emotion. I think we played hard. I just don't think right now offensively we're a very good football team. We can't run the football. We didn't run it very well last week, and we certainly did not run it very well today. And until you can run the football, you're going to have a hard time. You can't win on field goals. And so that's my answer. Well, I think, you have to remember Notre Dame spent the entire year preparing for Michigan. And then in July, they get a game scheduled to go to Provo, Utah. So I think they had a tough deal out there. But certainly, if you've been in this rivalry any length of time, if you know anything about it, you understand that two teams are going to go after each other. They're going to play with great pride because they represent two great institutions. And both these programs, I think, attract people who have pride and who want to be the best they can be and who are always going to play as hard as they can. So we expected a great football game, and certainly we knew that they would bring everything they had. I mean, it wouldn't be Notre Dame, it wouldn't be Michigan if you didn't.
What do you think impressions of Notre Dame's freshman?
Well, I think he's a good football player, and I think he did a heck of a job in there for a freshman. When he made some cuts. He's a slippery guy, and I thought he did a very good job.
Lloyd, do you think part of the struggles of the run game is the fact that Notre Dame was putting so many guys in the box? Is that something that you think was a major factor there?
No, I don't think that's a major factor.
What's been the problem there?
Pardon me?
What's been the problem also with
Well, I mean, it's a combination of things. We played against two good defenses. I watched Notre Dame against Brigham Young, and I thought Notre Dame played very, very, very good defense last week, and I think they played very, very good defense this week. So that's part of it. But David Underwood got hurt in the first series, and of course, now that changes all of the guys who had the reps. David had, probably at least half the reps because we're trying to get that part of it straightened around, and of course, he went down, and now, we're playing a lot of other guys. Well, I think, Chad Henne, under the circumstances, playing on the road in a place like this, I thought he did very well. I think he had good poise. I think we had some communication issues, and that's all part of growing. But I think he hung in there, and I thought at the end of the game he was playing to win, and I think he gave us a chance there if we could have got the ball back to have a chance to win. But I think every game is a learning situation for a kid that young, and he's still got a lot of things to learn because you certainly can't learn this position in 4 weeks.
Michigan went in as the higher-ranked team, and that wasn't really a good thing for the Wolverines. Since 1988, Michigan has come into Notre Dame Stadium as the higher-ranked team 4 times. All 4 times they're wound up on the losing end. Once again, losing today, 20-20. Highlights coming up shortly.